Now that was quite the heated discussion. There you go, Ben. You guys were into the transfer portal stuff, big time, man. Holy mackerel!
We are in the deep end, Bill.
Yeah, that was off the hook. I was enjoying the discussion and the angst, and who knew that that would create that type of discussion. That kind of angry discussion. Holy mackerel. Which, by the way, we want to welcome on a Friday to the Bill Michaels Show. Sorry about the weird start to the program. Apparently putting things back together after the live stream last night and the happy hour live stream. I have put it back together wrong, and I'll have to redo it during the break. So just so you know what's going on, why it sounds a little weird. Anyway, that being said, Brewers I tell you what, the Brewers, can they stay hot going to Atlanta? Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. They are just pounding the hell out of the baseball. 6 home runs yesterday, 20 home runs, 20 plus home runs, I believe, on the homestand. I mean, it's just, boy, I don't even know how to explain what we witnessed. And all of a sudden, we have become extremely spoiled, to be honest with you, in the sense of this team's roping. And the best part about it, though, I can honestly say, is Christian Yelich is roping. And so that really is kind of the best news of all, is the fact that he's really hitting the baseball extremely well. And maybe, just maybe, you get a little bit of a glimpse that he's starting to, I don't want to say return to form, but starting the upward ascent to bigger and better things. And cross your fingers, because if it's true and Urias is hitting the ball and Adames, who's just been for over the last week and a half, is just roping it as well. Things are trending in the right direction, without a doubt. So welcome to the program today. We got a big one today. We're going to continue the discussion with what you guys were doing on the morning show out at WOZN in Madison, our flagship station, The Zone, on Ebo Show. So we're going to get into that discussion because I think it's rather interesting. And for those that did not get a chance to listen to it last night, we're going to kind of give you some snippets from last evening's show of Kenny and Heilprin, which they had a guest, Greg Gard, the head basketball coach. UW-Madison was on the program. So we're going to hear some of that. And we're going to talk some more Brewers baseball. And I can't believe that people are going there. So I'll just put it out to the general mass. Is tomorrow's game for the Bucks a must-win? I can't believe I'm even asking that question, or I even have to. I don't understand right now the logic behind it. I understand what you would like, but the logic of a must-win, there's certain games that are must-win. I'm not there on this game tomorrow. Some feel that, though. And I'm not saying you're wrong, because that's what your gut feeling tells you. But yes, you always want to win at home. Right now, you're looking at a 5-game series. You got to win 3. And you have home court advantage. So keeping home court advantage, okay, I can say that's a must-win. Confidence-wise, that's a must-win. I get that. The series doesn't really start, as they say, until a team wins on the road. Well, the Bucks have already done that. So you don't want to allow them to, kind of take the serve back. I understand that. But now you got George Hill that could be back into the mix. Chris Middleton not going to be there. I know there's some people that are holding out hope that he's going to come riding in on a white horse suddenly tomorrow night, but the guy could barely move when he was shooting baskets in Boston with a giant ice bag around his knee. So I don't think he's coming back. I would say, to me, it would be all like a 99% that Chris Middleton will not be there tomorrow night. And there's right now, there's no need. You're not desperate right now. That's what I'm saying. So if you're desperate to get Chris Middleton back, then you're desperate for the win. Otherwise, I think you're good. So that being said, also it's Derby weekend. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. It's Derby weekend. We can, throw a few banters out there about if you're a horse racing enthusiast or not. Give us some picks. We'll write them down on come Monday. We'll see who prevails. Figure something out.
Why didn't you bring out the outfit today?
Well, because I got a late start. I got to be honest. I got up about 6. We also, for those that are waiting, we have an announcement today regarding the motorcycle ride. So I've been working on that diligently for the last, I've been doing a lot of work on it anyway, but to get all the points in place as we make announcements today, I've been doing a lot of work A lot of work on this. So I got up this morning about 6. I went to bed last night about midnight. Got up this morning about 6:30, actually about 6:30. Got over to the gym, came back home, had to set everything up. And like I said, I think I know I did. I can't say I think. I know I did. I set it up a little wrong. I just screwed up the microphones, which is fine. I'll change it back. So coming up in the next hour, once we get everybody on the network, we'll make the announcement regarding the 15th anniversary of the motorcycle ride benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin. So we'll do that. So that's what I was doing. I was doing all of that today. And to be honest with you, Ben, I'm gonna lay a little secret on you here. So last year, I have probably gained about 15, 17 pounds, somewhere in there. And, a little bit of weight, no big deal. It fluctuates, and I'm a big dude anyway. So, that's an extra couple cheeseburgers. So I've started working out again. The suit that I wore from last year, the bright blue plaid suit, the whole thing, little snug. So I have bought a new jacket, but I'm not as fond of it. And I have not mastered the art of tying the bow tie yet. So I could have worn it today as if we were on opening day of baseball. But it just, what I should have done? I should have just threw the jacket on and threw on a T-shirt and came on the show. That's what I should have done.
Or I was thinking you go find the hat and find a way to put the headphones under it.
I have not bought a hat. I have 2 hats that are of goofy ilk, and neither one of them they're bad. They're bad looks. So. But who knows? Maybe tomorrow I go out and I find something, and then before it's all said and done, then maybe I go, okay, I'll throw a hat on. Who knows? Do it on Monday maybe. But on Derby Day tomorrow, we'll see. I may don a hat. If I do, you know what? I'll post it over on Facebook. I promise that. I'll post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, post it on the Instagram page, all that stuff. By the way, if you want to find us, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up there. We'd be more than happy to chat with you. Also, by the way, Grand Rapids, Michigan, home of the Griffins. Want to say hi to Kevin listening to us over in Grand Rapids. Hit us up over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can find Ben Kenny at Ben Z Kenny on Twitter as well. I'm on Instagram. I don't know what the hell I am on Instagram. Facebook, go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. YouTube, you can find us. Subscribe for free. Get it sent right to your phone or your mobile device or your laptop, whatever. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. You can find us on Twitch TV the same. And then email us the old-fashioned way, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. I was listening as I'm putting some stuff together, sitting here today to the show, and I was listening to the heated discussion. Did you ever expect the NIL discussion to become so heated, Ben, on a Friday?
Last year when it all started, the answer is probably no, because it's good in a lot of ways. But what it does is it brings out the time-old Wisconsin discussions of, are they doing enough to win? Can they compete for a national title? And those always get heated. That's the biggest offseason thing before they end up losing in the conference championship in the fall.
Okay, here's my question. And we're going to listen to Greg Gard here in a minute. But when you talk about the state of college, first of all, I want to make this clear. What we're arguing about, or people argue about, is the few and far betweens. It's the exception to the rule. Most college athletes come in with some recommendations. Some are really good. Some are average. Some you don't know. Some you're not quite sure if they're going to pan out or not, but you make the offer, or they're walk-ons. What we're talking about in the NIL area is the elite, the highest of the highs. And those are the ones that are going to make any kind of jack. Those are the ones that go to the portal. They can go dollar for dollar, money for money, program for program. That's what they can do. Okay. So it's not like it's every player. All right. Players that develop into elite players as they get into college and begin to grow and begin to get into their own bodies and their own athleticism and such. And they excel mentally, they excel physically, they begin to really shine. Yeah, they can be wooed by the almighty dollar. I understand that. What we're arguing about, though, is the 1% or the 5% at best, not the 95% that are college athletes. And we're arguing about basically football and basketball. That's what we're arguing about. So you have to ask yourself, if you're Wisconsin, are you one player away? Yes or no? And then, if indeed this avalanche coming out of the Pandora's box begins to mount against you, do you fold your arms and stand on your morals and most likely not win anything? Just compete every year, just compete. When we're talking strictly about athletics now, we're not talking about getting kids educations, and that's not what we're discussing. We're discussing the want for the support of institutions and championships, okay, and success. And then you have to measure what your level of success is and what you're willing to do to get more success. That's what we're arguing about. So when on this program, we're all about sports. So we want to be the best. We want to be champions. We want to hoist championships. I get it. There was no bigger outpouring of success than two different examples. One was when Barry Alvarez went to his first Rose Bowl and won it. This state was on fire. On fire. That was when it was back. That was when there was this holy mackerel, check out our fan base, look at the sea of red. Oh, yeah. That was when it was back. And then you saw what the state was like when Bo Ryan took his team to a national title game. When they beat Kentucky, every bar in the state of Wisconsin and every bar that had Wisconsin fans in it went bananas. Every household went bananas. Every alumni meeting went bananas. I mean, it was Marquette fans, UWM fans, UW Green Bay fans, UW lacrosse fans. Didn't matter. Everybody was going nuts for the fandemonium that was the support for Bo Ryan and the Badger program at the time. So I get it. So now you got to ask yourself, what are you willing to do to take that next step? And Wisconsin, I'm not saying they're digging their heels in, but Wisconsin has always stood on we are not lowering our academic standards. We are not going to pay players. We are not diving into that pool. We're going to stand outside of the pool on the moral high ground. Okay. If that's where you're going to stand, I respect that. But when the cries for championships and winning become deafening, if teams, as this Pandora's box continues to open wider and wider and wider, as teams and institutions begin to bring in the elite because they are doing it somewhat legally, we'll say, through that specific conduit via money, and you see other franchises will say, pass you by, if indeed that begins to happen. I'm not saying it will, but the likelihood of it as you begin to bring in more and more elite athletes, let's be honest, the more talent, the more elite you garner, the better shot you have at winning. As that begins to grow and the schism begins to widen, then what? Do the fans then throw your hands in the air and say, you know what? They're doing it the right way. I'm good with this. Because that's fine if that's your moral high ground. But then you can't scream over losses, and you can't scream over coaching, and you can't scream over the institution, because if you're going to stand on the moral high ground, that's fine. But then there has to be some leeway. There's the built-in excuse to say we're not going to be as successful because. So that's the question. When we come back, we're going to hear from Greg Gard, some of the things last night off the Kenny and Heilprin show that were rather interesting. I want you to hear what he has to say, and then we'll react to it. Okay, let's do that. Stay with us. We got a lot coming up. Don't forget, coming up in about 45 minutes, we're going to kind of make some announcements in a really, really, really positive way. It's our 15th anniversary coming up, and we got a lot of cool stuff going on. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network. We're back in Judge Gina's court where debate's heating up.
True blue.
Order.
Sorry, Gina.
That's Judge Gina, and this case is dismissed.
Dismissed?
Come on, guys. Wisconsin's home team. Everyone knows it's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
You got us there, Judge Gina. Can't argue with that.
Others sell only 1 or 2 lines of windows, and both are vinyl. Pella lets you choose from an unbeaten 6 window lines, 2 lines of budget-friendly vinyl windows, 3 lines of luxurious wood, traditional to contemporary, and Impervia, Pella's exclusive never rot fiberglass, engineered to be the strongest window material anywhere, period. And there's financing to fit any budget. And now, up to $2,500 off an installed patio door, up to $3,000 off an installed entry door. What's left to argue?
Hella now? Pay later. Hella now. Pay
Court's adjourned. With the price of materials rising across the country, don't let your huge savings slip away. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Bill's Michaels Show. We are continuing on this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at New Mail Medical, the original at treating guys with ED and others. They've come along, but there's only one. That's the original New Mail Medical Center, the medical experts helping guys with ED. They've got a 98% success rate. And when it comes to low T or feeling just moody and up and down, kind of sluggish, putting on weight, they can help you out with some low T treatments as well, they're awesome. Then there's the all-in-one weight loss program, and they have just new, different, now better, more innovative ways to help you drop some pounds. We all know T-shirt season right around the corner. So head over to the New Mile Medical Center. There's locations in the state of Wisconsin, a couple of them, as a matter of fact. One phone number, though. One, doesn't matter where you're at. If you're listening, doesn't matter where you're listening. 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. That's the New Mile Medical Center. Give them a shout. Tell them we sent you. Again, 414-455-4451. So Greg Gard yesterday on the Kenny and Halprin show on the Zone in Madison, our fine affiliate there, talked about building the 2022 roster for this season.
Well, that's the puzzle that you have to put together, Zach, because every transfer portal athlete that we would take that has more than 1 year left, that reduces the scholarships that you can use in 23 or 24 and go on down the road. So it's not an exact science. I would say our discussions and talks about that kind of morph every day based on who we're talking to, who's in the portal, who's not, who we're talking to in terms of the younger kids. We've had a lot of younger guys visit here recently. It's kind of been a flurry. And they understand that. It's one thing about the portal. I think it's kind of pushed the high school kids to the back burner. And maybe they haven't gotten the opportunities because a lot of coaches are looking for experience. And so you have to find that balance of, you want now, and then you can't have then. So you can't have it both ways. 1 year guys that are good fits that academically come in and get in the door here. I'd love to find another Chris Vogt.
Right.
I think he was terrific for us and fit his role and knew who he was and knew who he wasn't. We've talked about that before. But finding that fit and making sure all the boxes get checked, so to speak, are, even though there's 1,600 names in the portal, the vast majority are probably not likely for our program.
Completely understand where he's coming from. This is what he talks about when he says how he approaches the NIL and the portal. Take a listen.
Yeah, I think regardless, no matter what the future holds, we're not going to get into the astronomical numbers. That's just not who we are as an institution. That's not who we are as a department. That's not who we are as a program. So our student athletes have had terrific opportunities to supplement their experience with the NIL. But my biggest fear with both those, the portal and the NIL, is they've kind of been on a collision course with each other, is that education has become devalued. And that's something I've forewarned our guys all the way back to July 1st, a year ago. The NIL is going to be great. You're going to have wonderful opportunities to supplement. If you want extra income, you can do that as long as it doesn't interfere with the other parts of your life. But don't let the NIL be more valuable to you than your education, because the NIL is going to exit the day you exit the locker room for the last time. It's over, and you're not going to be able to retire on that money. You have to be able to have something in place for the next 40, 50 years of your life, hence your degree.
Okay, so he continues on. He talks about this, that Wisconsin's not going to delve into that. Okay, so then he goes on to say, when you talk about the state of college athletics, take a listen to what he has to say.
Well, today on May 5th, we're not in a great place, to be honest with you. I think what was feared, the consequences would be if this all came to fruition with NIL and transfer portal without a lot of regulation and guidelines, it would turn into what we've seen here over the last month or so. And I think both, I want to preface this, both are good. I think both in time will have the proper, I guess, route, so to speak, or proper place. But with how NIL has been used to kind of fuel the transfer portal, and transfer portal has been used to up the NIL, everything that was intended for this to be about, it's kind of gotten off the track in a major way. So, it's leaked into, we did not want the NIL to become a recruiting inducement and seep into the world of recruiting. It has. We did not want it to become pay for play, basically. We've seen in some cases it has. So coaches are not supposed to be involved with it. I don't know what my guys got in NIL. We have a great platform here and a market for them to be in that world if they choose to. But the biggest thing is none of us have a rule book or a playbook to work out of. We're all creating our own, so to speak, and that leads to a lot of chaos and a lot of confusion.
Okay. Which is I completely understand it. Real quick, one more on Wisconsin's approach to how they look at the transfer portal as well. I want to get that because that's going to be kind of where you find some of these hopeful diamonds in the rough that want to get out of a program that they may not like. And Wisconsin then can maybe build upon their own programs in this particular fashion. Take a listen.
Yeah, I think you probably take the approach of contact first and decide later. Just because you have to, in the normal recruiting world, we recruit and build relationships for 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 years. If we have a kid on, that we really think is going to be good, and we have them at camp in grade school. And the transfer portal is basically speed dating. We have to contact, make decisions, all within probably 10 to 14 days. We better be in go mode if we're going to do it. So it's a lot of gathering of film. It's analyzing stats. Everybody now has a website where they can cross compare the analytics of how a kid coming from lower mid-major would fare in the high major, how they project going from conference to conference. So there's a lot of, I guess people are trying to make a living off the transfer portal too, and trying to provide coaches different services. But a lot of film work, a lot of watching, talking to people. Obviously, coaches, maybe there's a connection to their previous stops, whether it be in college or we know where they're from. So there's a lot of moving parts to it, and it changes literally by the hour. Every time I refresh Twitter and look at who's gone into the portal, we go right to verifying that they're truly in it. We can't trust everything on Twitter, believe that or not. Then you kind of make your decision on what's the good fit, and then how do you balance scholarships? Because if you take a kid that has 2 or more years, then you're reducing what you can use in the next, high school class. So there's a lot of, it's not an exact science. And I think just being flexible and adaptable and is the most important thing.
So there you go. He goes over the transfer portal. He talks about the NIL, about paying players, about what they do and don't want to delve into, how they're going to handle it. I did like the fact that, and I don't know if anybody caught it, but he said there's people trying to make a living, as he put it, off of the transfer portal. In other words, there's already services that are out there that are willing to put all the tape, do all the research, and then send it to you. To make a living off of the transfer portal, which is interesting. And that's not something, because I would just assume that most colleges have their own scouting department via the transfer portal. And apparently there's services that are out there going, hey, this kid went into the transfer portal. Here's all the film on him. Here's all the stats. Here's all the details. Here's all the analytics. There's departments out there, such as maybe like a Pro Football Focus style towards, say, college basketball, that's out there that is already looking at a kid going into the transfer portal, and guys are gathering every piece of information they can possibly give it, put it into a file, and then ship it off to you. How about that? Let's do this. We're going to come back. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I want to get into this discussion a little bit further and gauge it, just because I think there were some very interesting things there that he had to say. And there's also a reaction pouring in over on the Bud Light live stream as well. So I'm not going to ignore everybody that's chiming in. If you want to say something regarding this, are you in favor of paying players? Are you that particular Wisconsin fan or college basketball or college football or whatever it is fan that says, hey, look, may the best school win? Or are you just strictly like, nip, I stand on your moral high ground, not going to do it, not ever going to dip my toe into that water, which I say, I always caution, never say never. But give me your thoughts. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hey, the Milwaukee Admirals, tonight's the night. Manitoba Moose are in town. If you're looking for some playoff action hockey, it's tonight. It's tomorrow night. Manitoba's in town. The first game of this playoff series happening at the UW Panther Arena. All you got to do is go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com, get your tickets. Doesn't matter where you're coming from. Come down tonight, hang overnight, stay in Milwaukee, go get some great food, hang out, go to the Deer District tomorrow. Even if you don't have tickets for the Bucks game, looks like the weather's going to be good. Go to the Deer District, get loud, get crazy, get yourself some good action down there as the Bucks then face the Celtics. Big weekend in the downtown city of Milwaukee, and the Admirals kick it off tonight. Go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. That is MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Thunder is back, and you don't want to miss it. June 30th through July 3rd. It's the NASCAR Cup Quick Trip 250 and the Xfinity Series Henry 180. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you, the Bill Michaels Show. We continue on this Friday. Man, what a Friday. What a weekend coming up. You've got Admirals hockey both Friday and Saturday night. Bucks in Game 3 down at the Fiserv Forum. You got all over the joint coming up this weekend. You got the Brewers hot bats, red hot team in general, heading to the ATL. You got all kinds of stuff happening. Really, really good. And I noticed that we are getting ready. I saw some of the guys practicing the other day, yesterday when I was out driving up to Road America. Not only, Road America is active this weekend, as a matter of fact. They've got some racing up there as well. And I saw that some of the guys are already getting ready to get underway with the Northwood League season. And I was driving past some of the fields yesterday, and I see them out there getting them ready, doing the dirt, and they're putting the finishing touches on some of the stadiums. And yeah, so it's good right now. And it's supposed to be warmer this weekend. Supposed to be warmer this weekend, nice this weekend, and the next week it really gets good. Really gets good. So excited about it. Andy Herman of the Andy Herman of the Pack a Day podcast coming up. Also a little bit later on, Mike DeCourcy is going to join us from the Sporting News and from the Big Ten Network and the basketball analyst. We're going to talk with him a little bit about this transfer portal, the NIL, and all that, and get his sense of all of this. Is Pandora's box opened, and is this just a horrific thing for college athletics in general? So we'll talk to him about this as well. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. So here we go. So this is some of the thoughts. Okay. Let me say this first and foremost. One of the things that I wanted to get this, Greg says, Wisconsin can steer the course. Let the other schools get the players motivated by money. A player motivated by money is going to be motivated by nothing. I'd rather have 11 PJ Tuckers than 11 players voted on by money. Okay. So my argument to that is, it's not just play. Yes, players are motivated by money. I understand that. It's not just that. It's talented players. We can talk about that. Pro players are motivated by money. Pro players are motivated about going out and putting up the best statistics they can possibly get, doing the best they possibly can to win and to get the next contract. They're motivated by winning and money. Those two things are not, split exclusive. Okay. They can be together. So I would assume that the more talent you get, the more players that are motivated, whether it's by money, getting their stats up, becoming bigger, better, making more, becoming a bigger star. Along the way, they also are motivated by winning a championship, because that's ultimately what it's all about. The sentiment you're giving me is like it's dirty. It's almost dirty. You don't want a player that's dirty, that's motivated by the dollar. You want a player that's motivated by purity and just the fun of the athletics. But that's not where we're at anymore. That's not what this is anymore. This has been injected into the veins of college athletics. And now it's there. It used to be the dark alleys, the backroom decisions, the backroom deals, things that were done that nobody knew about. A handshake and you've got a piece of paper in it giving you access to accounts. And so now it's out there in the open. It's right there for all to see. So are you in favor of this, or do you like what Greg Gard had to say about the NIL? Just saying, look, we're not going to jump into that pond. We're not going to, and it's not to say that they're not going there at all. It's just, I don't think they want to get into that game. They don't want to be looked at as a program that's paying for play. And on one hand, you really respect it. On the other hand, you hope you don't start losing players because of it. Ben, now, after that discussion last night, what did you walk away feeling?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot there. I think NIL and the transfer portal are good things, and it was a long time coming. I think the big problem here is that the NCAA drug their feet leading up to that. So when the floodgates did open, there was no plan. So now we're seeing what we're seeing. In terms of Gard's comments, they didn't surprise me at all. We heard something similar from Chris McIntosh last week, Wisconsin AD, that they're not really, they don't have a plan in place right now to go and join the big money boosters in recruiting. My overall reaction is that, it's going to make competition harder. Like where college sports are right now with the portal, with getting guys from the portal, with recruiting, I think it will be tougher for both teams to have success. And success as in, say, winning a conference title. I think Wisconsin can always be Wisconsin, and in basketball, win 15, 20 games a year, football, win 8 or 9. But in order to win conference championships, I think the road is becoming more and more uphill if they're not going to go and be able to compete for recruits.
In the moment, I agree with McIntosh and Greg Gard kind of, parroting what each other are saying is basically like, look, we're not going to dive into that pool. I think what they're going to do is they're going to sit back. They're going to kind of take stock of that situation. And if it's necessary, they'll look at each other and go, okay, yeah, let's maybe we dip our toe here. Maybe we do that. I like the transfer portal because I've always thought it was, when coaches can go off and do whatever it is they want after kids commit, I've often thought it's unfair to hold kids accountable when coaches aren't. Now, granted, they're kids versus professionals because the coaches are pro. They can't claim they're not. They're being paid for it. But I've also often thought when a coach sits in your living room and says, this is what I'm going to do for you, and that's what you buy into, to walk away, you shouldn't have to hold kids to the same standard that you hold coaches. If kids get into a situation, they just think, this is just not the best for me. This is not the best for my career. This is not the best for my education. This is not the best for my well-being, my mental health, my physical health, whatever it happens to be, my financial health, whatever. They should be able to move. You should give them that opportunity, that out, if you will. I don't think you should give them numerous bites of the apple. But I think you should at least be able to say, you know what, this isn't working out. I need to move without penalty. One time, at least. Beyond that, I don't think that's necessarily correct because then you got guys jumping year to year that just want to go, do their own thing. And they just, it's obviously what their motivation is. But when it comes to paying players to come to your institution, say it comes down to the number one recruit in the country at quarterback or at point guard, and you've got Duke and Kansas and all the blue bloods after this guy. And then there's Wisconsin, and he really likes Wisconsin. He likes Greg Gard. He likes all of that. But say Kansas, we all know Bill Self is as dirty gets. Say Kansas says, hey, you know what? Come to us. We've got this. And there's the monetary opportunity. I know it's dirty to get in the mud, but do you want to do that? Would you take it to that level?
I don't know how dirty
if it's legal,
necessarily.
If it's legal,
it's all allowed.
Yeah, it's allowed. But I think the perception is that you are then paying a player to be a part of your institution rather than somebody wanting to come there. And I think we've got an emotional attachment to, we want you to be a Badger. We want you to want to be a Wisconsinite. We want you to want to be a part of this program. We want you to want to win and to learn and to conform and to be a part, rather than just coming in for the dollar, which I understand. That's what people are saying. But if it means losing the number one recruit in the country to Kansas versus Wisconsin, would you throw down dollars?
I think a really good example of who this could apply to is Graham Mertz. If Graham Mertz was being recruited right now, because he had offers from everybody, it's not the number one recruit, but he's high up there, and he chooses Wisconsin, but it's before NIL. It's when the next Graham Mertz comes around, will Wisconsin be able to join the fray with NIL?
I don't think there's a wrong answer to this, because you feel how you feel. But what I see coming, and I'm just predicting this portion of it now, it's eventually going to happen where there's going to come that decision, and we're going to find out that this kid goes to wherever because of the NIL aspect of it. And the Badgers are going to have a good season, not a great season, and somebody's going to go off to greatness, and that's when the cries are going to become loud, going, oh my God, I can't believe we didn't do this. And the hypocrisy of those that scream will become evident. So I don't have a problem either way. If you want to stand on moral high ground, go for it. I don't have a problem with it. If you don't want to jump into that particular, mud pit, understood. But you can't be hypocritical. You can't go, oh my God, I can't believe we're not winning. We got to fire the coach. They didn't do enough. When no, sometimes it really does come down with the hand with the most money in it, or the hand with that most monetary opportunity in it, for you to then turn around and say, okay, they just outbid us. Basically, they offered the college aspect, the college career, the college life, and money, and we offered them the college life. And that's what their decision came down to. And we all hope that that decision becomes extremely wrong and it ends up failing miserably, but because that's what we are, we're human. But there's going to come a time that that's going to become the issue, the discussion. And at that point in time, all the people that want Wisconsin to come out of the woodwork and throw ducats at particular players, that's when you're going to hear that scream become the loudest. Let's do this. Let's break away. We're woefully late for a break. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I agree with that. So I think, just my opinion, is that right now we are way too early in the infancy of the NIL. I know that there are players on Wisconsin's campus that are looking for some type of endorsement deal. That I know. I know that. Whether that's going to be allowed within the program, I don't know.
Oh, a lot of them have it.
Yeah, they got those deals. I don't know if everybody's actively looking on their own. I just don't think that the school is going to be open and active in getting players NIL deals. The only reason I know that is because I've been approached directly to get to pay for guys to be on the program. So I know that that's happened. I know that they say they don't want to get into that. And like I said, it's in its infancy. It's going to morph into something more than that, though. I believe. How many guys do you know, Ben, that are actually in some way, shape, or form endorsing things or making money off of things?
Oh, name a significant player on football, basketball, other sports, volleyball. A lot of them already do it. They have this whole marketplace set up for a third party. It's a third party website,
right,
for businesses to approach athletes and offer them deals for whatever it is, an Instagram post or a commercial. Where the line is drawn is not that, because some players made up to 6 figures last year.
Mm-hmm.
Where the line is drawn is when you are recruiting, are you putting together packages in the backstage so that when they come to the school, it's all set up, because every other school in the country is doing that.
boy. Do you think that when Greg Gard or Paul Christ or any one of the recruiters that are out on the recruiting trail talking to these guys or girls, that they don't reference, if it's brought up, the ability to say, hey, we don't do it specifically, but here this is?
I think they definitely reference that.
I think so too.
I think that will be viewed differently than, say, Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame or Ryan Day at Ohio State saying, hey, you come here, you'll make $2 million in your first year. Because that's the difference right now, because those programs do that. Nick Saban was doing it last year with Bryce Young.
Oh, I agree. But you're right. There's programs that are blatantly doing it. Just because, though, you're not blatantly doing it doesn't mean you're doing it. Or it doesn't mean you're not doing it, I should say. It's incredibly interesting, and I find it hard to believe in today's day and age of what's going on when the legality of it is there, that it's not referenced. And if your house of cards begins to crumble because your house is not as big as someone else's house, then I think you take a strong look at the infrastructure of your own house. But I think what they're going to do, what Wisconsin's basically saying is we're going to let the others go and do this and see how it works. Let them lay down the blueprint and see how it works. And if it works, well, then maybe we readjust our thought. If it doesn't, well, then we're sitting on the moral high ground and we look better because of it. And that's not a bad way to go. We're going to make some announcements coming up. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Chalk up another win for the Brewers as Willie Adames hit 2 of Milwaukee's 6 homers as the Crew would beat the Cincinnati Reds 10-5 at American Family Field. Luis Arias, Christian Yelich, Tyrone Taylor, and Keston Hiura also connected as the Brewers won for the 8th time in 9 games. Here's more from manager Craig Counsell.
We swung the bats very well this homestand, and some, we got a couple players that are really locked in. Rowdy and Willie and Christian just really swing the bats well, tough at bats.
The Brewers now hit the road for a weekend series in Atlanta. They take on the Braves tonight. First pitch is at 6:20. To the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks second-round playoff series against the Celtics now shifts to the Pfizer Forum Saturday, with the series tied at 1 apiece and the Bucks coming off a blowout loss. Pat Connaughton says it's all about how they respond.
I mean, we didn't respond to winning like we wanted to. They responded to losing very well. How do we respond to losing at home on Saturday with the home crowd, with Pfizer, in a place where we're comfortable, in a place where, we get adrenaline from the fans.
Tip-off is tomorrow at 2:30.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
When a company only does business in Wisconsin, that's Wisconsin Strong. Rural Mutual provides all lines of insurance, including commercial, farm, home, and auto. And your premiums stay right here to keep Wisconsin strong. Local agents, local underwriters, local claims adjusters.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Both of the Packers' first-round picks, linebacker Quay Walker and defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt, have signed their rookie contracts. They've also reported to Green Bay, along with the 9 other draft picks, undrafted free agents, and walk-ons for rookie minicamp getting underway this weekend. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome one, welcome all. We are glad you're with us. Thanks so much On this Friday, to all of you, all throughout the great state of Wisconsin, everybody coming onto the network, say hi to our friends out in Madison on our flagship station, The Zone, WOZN on 1670 and 96.7 FM, also in La Crosse and WKTY, our great affiliate, WAYY, listening to us in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, at Sports Talk 105.1, saying hi to everybody that listens early on to Ernie, our good buddy out there in Viroqua. Thanks to everybody listening up in Wausau, in Marshfield, Rice Lake, Menominee, Marinette, Platteville. Cannot forget about Platteville. Love Platteville. Got to get back down there, too. I haven't been down there. See my buddy Herb Cody down there in a while. And then there's Shawano, Clintonville, and all the other ones that are starting to grow. And we're going to make some announcements regarding some affiliate expansion coming up here relatively soon as well. So I've been waiting for this day for a while. And today marks 119 days. 119 days until the 119th anniversary of Harley-Davidson and the Hometown Rally. The Hometown Rally every year is held with the dealerships in Milwaukee and the surrounding areas. And riders come from not just around the state, but all over the country and all over the world, for that matter, to come back to what is the home of Harley-Davidson. And we are gearing up for the 120th anniversary, which begins next year. And they've already made the announcements that it's going to be in July of next year and not necessarily during the Labor Day weekend. This year is our 15th anniversary of the motorcycle ride. And first and foremost, we got to say thanks to our friends at Bud Light who have been with us since day one. They have been the big supporting sponsor of this. They have put a lot of money, a lot of effort and time into this to make it the success. We started out with 42 motorcycles our first year, and I thought that was fantastic. That was amazing. Last year, we had 767, and we had a little over 1,100 people that participated, 1,100 riders. This year, we tried to figure out what could we possibly do to make this bigger and better. So this is what we did so far. This year, the 15th annual Big Units Poker Run benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin for our military members, our veterans, and their families will again begin at Milwaukee Brewing on Sunday, September 4th. We ride kickstands up at 11 a.m. It's going to be a lot of the same, where they're going to have music. They're going to have some beverages. They're going to have breakfast sandwiches, brewery tours. Weather permitting, the rooftop is going to be open, and it's going to be a spectacular day down on 9th Street, downtown Milwaukee. We are then going to leave and ride from there to the Rock Complex, which this is the first time we've ever dealt with the Rock Complex. And it is a massive sports complex over in Franklin, Wisconsin. We're going to be police escorted out of downtown Milwaukee, and they're going to do the highway thing for us again. And the row of riders, whether it's a mile long or 7 miles long, we're going to go and be escorted down to the Rock Complex, where they're going to open up the baseball field for the Milkmen. They're going to open up the Umbrella Bar. They've hired a band to play for us. So you're going to have music, you're going to have food, you're going to have beverages, you're going to have photos taken, drone footage, all this stuff. Top Golf is now going to be open down there as well, all for the riders, everything. It's going to be an experience within itself. So rather than going to 4 and 5 and 6 stops, we're going to cut it down to 3 this year. And we tried to make the experience of riding so wonderful. What we're going to do after that is unique. We are going to Alpine Valley, down to the music theater, and then down to the chalet. So we're going to ride, not your traditional, places you would take motorcycles, but that's where we're going to go. And we've got some really neat details that are going to follow after that. We're working on some things down there at Alpine Valley, but we're booked. We're going to Alpine Valley for the second stop. After that, we're going to a really cool, getting back to the roots of motorcycling, a cool kind of biker place, a place called Knucklehead in Eagle, Wisconsin. And then we're heading over to Wisconsin Harley-Davidson after the fact. We got to say thanks to a new sponsor, which is Potawatomi Hotel Casino, who are going to supply dealers this year. So for those of you that had some issues last year, and I know there were issues last year at the end of the ride, Potawatomi Hotel Casino is going to give us dealers. We're going to have some volunteers on site. We're going to have this completely manned and get rid of the cluster that we had last year. And my apologies for it, but we're going to take care of it. So that's one of the big mentions here. So thanks to our friends at Potawatomi Hotel Casino, because we can't do this without them. They are wonderful, wonderful people. And they approached us about coming on. We didn't even have to look for them. They approached us. At the end of this, we have been approached by the Warbirds, the Commemorative Air Wing, right here in Wisconsin. And they are going to do, for our 15th anniversary, they are going to do a flyover when we are on stage. And we're going to time it out with all of our riders returning back to Wisconsin Harley-Davidson and some of the old World War II planes, some of the Vietnam planes and such, whatever's available at that time. They're going to do a flyover for us. And we're going to have bands. The band has not been announced yet. We have not announced the band. We will, but we haven't announced the band yet. We're finalizing those details. It's going to be playing on stage for our event out at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. But it is going to be a grand day. It comes out to about 85 miles, and it's 3 stops, and it's going to be wonderful. It's $25 per bike. And if you have a passenger that wants to join, it's $15. The pre-registration is now open. It opened up at 11 a.m. sharp. If you want to find it, I'm going to post it over on the Facebook fan page. I'll also there's a Facebook page just for the Big Units Fisher House Poker Run. You can find it on Facebook. It'll be at fisherhousewi.org as well under the events page. That'll be listed. So there's plenty of places to find it. And for those only who pre-reg, last year we had one massive package and it was kind of winner take all. This year we are going to do 4 distinct packages. One is going to be Bucks tickets and Admirals tickets. The other one is going to be Brewers tickets. The other one is going to be Badger football tickets with an inclusion of a tailgate party. And then another one for race fans is NASCAR and IndyCar tickets at Road America for the 2023 season. They are all valued at well over $500 in so many different ways. There's going to be dining cards that go along with these things and certificates and such, but they're all valued over $500 alone. So I can't say thanks enough to everybody that made donations and everybody that's coming along. But it's our 15th annual poker run benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin, coming up on Sunday, September 4th. And pre-registration is open now. And the day of the registration is just $25 a person. That's what it is. So don't wait. Get pre-registered now. We want to break last year's record of 767 bikes. We have kickstands up at 11 a.m. And we can't say thanks enough to our friends at the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department, the City of Milwaukee Police Department, the State Patrol, everybody that has helped us out in years past, Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, all the municipalities that have been a part of this. Thank you so much. And we can't do without you. But that is it. It's all out there. Hopefully, if you don't bike, that's fine. If you do, please join us. It's open to all motorcycles too. All motorcycles. It's not just Harleys. It's Hondas. It's Indians. It's whatever you ride. Bring it on out. We would love to have you. There you go. So that's it. We wanted to make the announcement because we went live at 11 o'clock sharp. So if you want to find it, just go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. And all the information is right there. And we're going to continue to update it too. You're going to get more and more details throughout the day and as they can become available. So there you go. Good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Very, very proud of that. Very, very proud of that. Hopefully a lot of people get involved in that as well. So I want to go back real quick. We were talking about the NIL, the portal, and such. Ben Kenny, Zach Halprin last night talked to Greg Gard on their program, Kenny and Halprin. And so some of the comments you heard earlier last hour from Greg Gard, and some stand on the very high moral ground. That is, we're not going to set up structures to pay players to come to Wisconsin. We want to remain very much kind of the above board program and don't want to get into the mud with other teams and other programs that want to just blatantly pay players to come there. Ben, so I want to go back to the comment you made that you sent me just before we went to the top of the hour break. You think this, by not setting this up and by not kind of just delving into what is now considered legal, you think it's a gross mistake by UW-Madison?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to change as time goes on, but it was a long time coming, and everybody saw this world morphing into what it is now. I think it's a mistake to not go out and compete, at least in the world that everybody else is living in. I guess it could be called taking a moral high ground, but I think it's a very immoral world, if you will. While it's all allowed, and I don't think any of this is quote unquote dirty, I think not going out and at least having some type of NIL package with you as you go recruit, I think you're going to fall behind because you have to adapt to what the landscape of college sports is right now. And that's what it's become.
And I agree. I mean, I can't argue. There's no right or wrong to this. I think there's only success and mediocrity or, sub championships and arguments then thereof. Because you can go out and buy a player and say he's the best player in the land, bring him into your system. He then excels your team. And then right before the tournament, he ends up getting injured and everything falls by the wayside. Nothing is guaranteeing the fact that you win a championship because you're spending money. And I think that's where some people look at it and say, look, we've seen it in pro sports. You can go out and spend all the money you want. It took years and years and years for the Dodgers to finally win a championship after spending more than $300 million on payroll. So I get it. I completely understand that. You don't want to get into that rabbit hole. On the other hand, there are going to be those that scream, if you're going to do it the right way and you continually don't have success, or you're one and done, or you're not getting into the Final Four in football, you're not getting into the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the Final Four in basketball, you're going to be considered but. Yeah, they have a great season, but they're not going to actually reach the biggest monuments, which is Final Four and then ultimately a national title. So I understand it. And you're going to get finger pointing on either side. It goes back to that argument from a while ago when, Gary Anderson complained that it was too difficult to get certain players into Wisconsin because of the academic standards, because of just merely a credit, when they're supposed to take just one extra year of Spanish or one extra year of algebra or whatever it is they happen to need to get in. They just don't have that extra year, that extra credit, and you're going to keep these people out. He complained about it then, and then there was an outcry. Can we just lower the standard a little bit to allow some of these guys to get here and then maybe get them up to speed once they get here? And the standard answer was no, we're not lowering our standards just because we want a specific player to come to Wisconsin. I agree. This is going to be a never-ending discussion, a never-ending argument. And every year, like right now, everything's quiet because there's optimism. Nobody's won, nobody's lost. But if you've got to recruit, say in-state or somebody that you're really hot on the trail of, and it comes down to another school or Wisconsin, and if you lose that guy, the argument is going to be then kind of reignited. It's going to fan the flames and everything's going to burst back up, and we're going to be discussing it again. But I agree. Look, if it's legal and you have the means to do certain things, do anything and everything you can to benefit your program. And also remember, if you're not going to do it, are you then hamstringing your coach via wins and losses? Because there are coaches out there that will say, I don't get paid to graduate kids. I don't get paid to make sure guys are in class. That's what some of the student academic advisors are for. They get paid to do that, not me. What I'm here for, if I don't win, I don't have a job. So I'm all about winning, and I'll do it at all costs. I'll make sure that the kids do what they're supposed to do, and I will be the father figure for them to make sure they don't get into trouble, and we will all be friends, and we will all be family, and all of that. But when it comes to wins and losses, I lose my job if I don't win more games. And then are you then, in essence, hamstringing some of your coaches because of the decisions you're making as an academic institution? That's also the side of it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. So let's do this. When we come back, I want to switch gears just a little bit. I want to talk a little basketball, and I want to get into the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks, big game at the Fiserv Forum. Game 3 coming up tomorrow, 2:30 tip time down there. Is this, for those of you out there that are pining for this particular phrase, is this a must-win circumstantially for the Milwaukee Bucks? We'll deal with that when we come back. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How we looking? Hey, I'll tell you what, if you are, as we know, the weather's going to start turning warmer, and if you're in the market for a motorhome, a fifth wheel, camper van, travel trailer, Cunis RV, they got you covered. They're going to be the home again this year of the big unit cruiser. Best-selling RV and camper brands such as Jayco, Alliance, Coachman, Catalina, Dutchman, Forest River, Gulfstream. You know it. You got it. Stop into one of their many locations growing all throughout the great state of Wisconsin. Cunis offering top dollar for your trade-ins, also offering consignment. And if you're looking to sell your camper, motorhome, whatever it happens to be, you don't want the headaches and the hassles, call them. Call them. They can help you out. Big or small, Cunis RV consigns it all. They have a great selection out there as well. Doesn't matter which location. I go to the one down in Elkhorn. Get a hold of my buddy Scott. He's the GM down there. Scott Remmer. Ask for him. And he's the guy that can cut the deals. Go to Scott. Go to Cunis, K-U-N-E-S, CunisRV.com. That is CunisRV.com. Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer. Go to CunisRV.com. Must-win game for the Milwaukee Bucks? No. The term must win, it doesn't always apply to a team that is about to be eliminated. That is indeed a must win. That is without a doubt. For this particular game, this is being applied because people are in the nail-biting panic mode. You need to be up 2-1. You feel they have to get the win. They have to do it without Chris Middleton. They have to do it at the Fiserv Forum. They have to do it for the first game to gain confidence. They have to do it in front of the home crowd. You have to do it because you can't lose serve for the home court advantage. All of those are true, but that doesn't make it a must-win game. Ben, how vital is tomorrow's game, do you feel?
I think it's important. I would not call it a must-win by any means. I kind of the same thing I said against the Bulls. It's a must look good. Mm-hmm. It's a must play well at home. You're playing a really good basketball team. If you lose, it by no means is it over. So you already stole a game in Boston. Right. So if you give one back, no one's dead.
For all the reasons that I gave that people have angst, I agree. I think that you need to have the confidence because you got just drilled in game 2. I think you need to do it in front of your home fans. You can't take the wind out of the sails of the Fiserv Forum in the Deer District. I think you need to hold serve for home court advantage. All of those. I agree with all of those, but I agree with you. It's not must win. The Bucks were down 0-2 to, numerous teams in the past and have come back to win. So I'm not overly concerned about that. Missing Chris Middleton does hurt. We saw that in the last game. Here's one other thing to think about. George Hill most likely coming back. How deep in the bench does Coach Bud change his rotation? He's been going about 8 or 9 deep total. That's it. It's not like he's running, 10, 11, 12, 13 guys out there. Who loses minutes? George Hill can be a calming influence, especially if you get into some of these runs. But I don't necessarily look at this and say, oh my God, boy, they've got everybody, all their weapons are on board, because you're not going to see Coach Bud use all the weapons. He doesn't do it that way. He pretty much comes up with a game plan, and that's what he sticks to. He doesn't change things. There's not a whole lot of on the fly there. Unless, we've seen it throughout the season where it's absolutely positively necessary. But most of the time when you get to the postseason, it's 8 or 9 guys. That's about it. He doesn't go much deeper than that. Kyle says could be much must win because in Coach Bud's tenure, the winner of every game 3 has gone on to win the series. Yes, this is a must win. Bradley says, I think I'm growing to hate the term must win. This is the playoffs. Playoffs, yes. Playoffs, every game is a must win. You can't tell me that the Bucks don't want to sweep every single time. I completely agree. Completely agree. This is how do I put this? This is a game where you can say, yeah, you know what? Our backs are a little bit against the wall because we had momentum coming out of game 1. We completely gave it away in game 2. They took us out of our game. They were hitting their shots. Our defense sucked. We couldn't hit shots. From beyond the arc, we were absolutely terrible. Brook Lopez offensively has been non-existent, and you would like to see him become more involved. Who else is going to step up? You needed the presence of Chris Middleton in that game. They figured something out. And now you start to question, do they have something on us? We couldn't answer. We didn't have the ability to answer. We couldn't answer. So now what? You start to get that little bit of doubt in your mind. This game is the game in which you can erase all of that. You can go, okay. We're good. We got him. We punched him in the mouth here at our place. Our fans were rocking. Our Deer District's back. We're good to go. It's not a must win in the sense of, oh my God, if we lose this game, it's over. It's a must win in the sense of you just want to kind of reestablish yourself. Like you said, Ben, it's probably more of a must look good moment than it is a must win game. So that
Would you call it a can't lose then?
No, because that's the same thing. That's just that's a different way of putting lipstick on a pig. I hate that term. We can't lose. Call it a must win then if you feel it that way. I think it's a must be really competitive. If you lose, don't lose by more than 5. If you win, hopefully you have a good, solid, dominant victory. If you win a close game, then consider yourself, boy, we're really glad we have home court advantage throughout. When it comes down to the energy of the moment, let's feel really good about having home court advantage throughout. But as far as must win, oh my God, the sky is falling. No, I'm not there. Now, if they lose this game, then coming back on Monday, that's a must win game. That's a must win game. Otherwise, you're going back to Boston and they're closing things out. That would be a must win game.
I agree.
So, but this one is a got to look good game. Got to come out tenacious game. And you can't let up game. You got punched in and here's the other thing that I need Bud to do if he's listening to the program. For God Almighty, for his sake, please, and all fans out there that are dropping to their knees right now, saying a novena, going to church, confessing their sins, trying to get a cleansed soul, getting into this moment, for the love of God, if the Celtics go on a run, 6-0, 7-0, 10-0, please, God, call a timeout and stem the tide. It seems like they've got to go on a 25-0 run before you finally call a timeout. I get it that you want to hit a big bucket and you want to get your guys back into the rhythm, but for the love of God, please call a timeout. Please call a timeout because they got punched in the face fast and furious in game one. And before you knew what hit you, you were down 20 points, 23 points, 18 points. And all of a sudden you're going, well, okay, timeout. Let's stop the bleeding. And it was awful. And you knew right then and there that no matter what the Bucks did, as hard as they fought, and the game was pretty much even after that. If anything, the Bucks came out a little bit ahead. But after that, you knew that it was just going to be trading buckets the rest of the way, and there was no way you were going to overcome that kind of a deficit in a playoff game. So stem the tide. If it starts to get away from you 3-4 buckets, let's call a timeout. Let's just reset, guys. This is what it is. Here we go. Let's reset this thing. John says, play to win every game. Herm Edwards, play to win a game. I agree. It's not a must win, though, but you play to win every game. Brett says, I really think this is a must-win game for our Bucks for many reasons. Gain momentum on our end. Percentage-wise, when the series is tied, it's and 72% of the teams win the series, it goes on to win game 3. Also, after getting a shot on game 2, Giannis and the Bucks need to respond in game 3, which I'm 100% confident they will do. The Celtics keep putting one-on-one with Giannis because it isn't going to work like in game 2. One last thing, our rotational players will be more involved. Go Bucks. See, you hope they are. You hope they are because Bud doesn't go too deep into his bench come postseason. And again, this one's from Anthony who says, and look for Chris Middleton to come back. I just have a feeling. Anthony, like I said, I don't get shocked very often. I'd be shocked if he played in this game. The Bucks said a while ago, they didn't think he was going to play in the series. I'd be shocked if he played in this game. Only a couple of games into it, only less than a week from when they said that he wasn't going to be available for the series. I'd be shocked.
Coach Bud said that we will not see Middleton in the next 2 games.
I didn't think so. I know there's these rumors out there that, he's going to come back. We saw him shoot. Did you see him shoot in Boston? The guy wasn't moving, man. He looked like a guy that just came back from surgery and he's standing up for the first time. That's what he looked like. He was kind of hobbled. He had that great big ice bag wrapped to his knee. He was just smiling, just popping a couple of shots, but there was no leap there. There was no oomph to it. It wasn't like he was quick cutting his steps. None of that. None of that. Just because you see Chris Middleton standing doesn't mean he's suddenly going to be able to play NBA basketball. So I don't see Chris Middleton coming back. I don't see Chris Middleton. If they win this game, I don't see Chris Middleton coming back in this series. Unless maybe it's game 7. Otherwise, I don't see him coming back. Just my thought. 877-867-1670. If you think it's a must game, tell me why. Tell me why. Hang in there. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They're racing and you don't want to miss it. June 9th through the 12th, it's the NTT IndyCar Series Saucio Grand Prix presented by AMR. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How are we looking? Friday, sporting weekend, good stuff going on. A lot of good things happening. I want to say hi to our friends at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. We talked about it a little bit earlier. They're going to be the host as we finish our motorcycle ride there this year. They're always great to us. Craig Winger and his staff are fantastic. Look forward to the hometown rally. All the announcements going up today. That being said, if you're looking to ride, if you're looking for a bike, if you're looking for motor clothes, for parts, for accessories, if you're looking for tutoring, whatever it happens to be when it comes to riding, they've got it for you. Wisconsin's best dealer. Wisconsin's best dealer. Go to Wisconsin, WISHD.com. WISHD.com. That is WISHD.com. Good stuff. 877-867-1670. Taylor says, first, nice spring Friday. I think it's time to bring back the Friday Beer Chug Challenge. I don't think we do it every Friday, do we? Do we go back to doing that, Ben? Do we need the Beer Chug Challenge every Friday?
I mean, yeah, but I feel like it would that would then dictate why we're chugging the beer. The Phillies blew a 7-run lead in the 9th inning last night, so I would be drinking in a more somber way, while many others would celebrate the weekend.
Oh my God! So is that then? I figure at this point in time, you wake up and the Joe Girardi dartboard is just shredded with axe rather than darts. Axe throwing has begun in the Ben Kenny household.
There aren't many. I do have a dartboard in my apartment. There aren't many times I turn on Philly sports radio driving into work, but today had to be one of those days. And yeah, the outrage is there.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness.
7-1, Bill. 7-1.
Yeah.
Against the Mets. The Mets lose those games.
Yeah. They usually lose those games. The Mets play much better baseball this year, but they usually lose those games. Well, on a positive side for your Philly roots, Joel Embiid's going to be playing.
Likely.
He's still listed out for game 3, but he's cleared all the protocols.
They upgraded him to doubtful actually just now. So
okay,
it's looking like he'll play, but I mean, there's no faith there either because of the head coach.
People make fun of Philly fans for always being the pessimists, but I think it's like that with every fan. I don't want to say Wisconsinites. It's like that with every fan base. It's great to be a part of something when things are going good and you have optimism, but unless you win it, it just sucks. Because then you figure out reasons as to why they're not. We get it all the time. Every time we start to talk about the Packers playing well and getting home field advantage and, well, they're going to choke, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. So people can say, I told you so. Otherwise, you're just joyous when they win it. You can say, boy, this is great. I was wrong. Yay, But for the most part, people love to say this sucks and this is going to suck and here's the reason why. And I told you so. So for everybody that has optimism, you're just peeing on their parade, basically. And that's about the extent of it. So I understand where you're coming from. Let's put it that way.
I get the stereotype, but
yeah,
I understand how people view people from where I'm from, but when you look at what happens, take away the Eagles, do you kind of get it?
Yeah.
It's a baseball team that spends big money and then finds every way to lose. It's a basketball organization that tanked for 6 years and is a complete disaster.
Yep. You talked about the Eagles winning a championships. Not that long ago, the Phillies were winning championships.
They haven't made the playoffs since, though. That's
right.
10 years.
No, that I agree with. But I go back to the years they were winning it when Pete Rose came there as a free agent. They've won championships, where some teams, like the Brewers, have never won a championship. They haven't even really, other than in '82, they haven't really sniffed it. They haven't gotten to the World Series. So I agree your angst and pessimism. I understand it. I think it reigns more prevalent here in the state only for the fact that they've never been. So until you get there, I think there's always optimism. There's always hope. There's always enjoyment. But ultimately, I think in the back of your mind, you go, do they have enough? No, they don't have enough money to compete. That's always going to be what we're going to say. It's the built-in excuse. What else?
At least they're extremely well run, though.
That
the
they are.
Upstairs, the coach.
Yeah, that they are.
You'll always be in a position to succeed when you have that.
Mm-hmm. No, that they are. Carlos writes, a belated happy Cinco de Mayo. I was out yesterday getting hammered. Getting hammered. I was at Casa Tequila, which I believe is not far away from your home. And as a matter of fact, Carlos, you are correct. It is not far away. We were going to go up there yesterday. Kristen stopped by. I was on my way back from Road America. We were going to stop and have a drink. It was packed. It was packed yesterday. And normally it's not packed. Normally I even when the parking lot is full, you can pretty much walk in and still get a seat at the bar. Yesterday, there was a line out the door, so we just never went. I just wasn't going to stand in line just to get a margarita. But Carlos, you are correct. He says, boy, what a week for the Milwaukee Brewers. If they can win 2 out of 3 this weekend, do we then jump on the bandwagon and say we are firm believers? Carlos, let me say this. First of all, thank you for the email. I appreciate the fact that you had to take a day to write it because you were probably really inebriated yesterday. And the fact that you recovered, you woke up and you wrote me an email. Fantastic. Here you go. The thing about it is about jumping on the bandwagon. First of all, I'm on the bandwagon. I figured they were going to win the division anyway. So I don't know if you call that being on the bandwagon or jumping on it, but I've always thought the Brewers were going to win the division. If you think now that efforts them towards a World Series, I think optimism reigns supreme, but I'll say this, baseball is so long. What you do in April and May is not necessarily what you're going to do in August and September. It is so long, so long. The only thing I can say is, and I've always said this, going down the stretch, like last year, They were winning in August, and people were out of their freaking minds, man. And this is great. Here we go. Yelich was on track, and then Yelich cooled off, and the team cooled off, and they struggled to hit down the stretch. And I said at the time, and people called me every name in the book. And I took it like Superman with bullets flying off his chest. It's like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm this. I'm a son of a, yep, I'm an app. Yep, I take it. Here's the thing. You got to be hot. You got to be good. You got to be healthy. You got to be lucky. In baseball, to the postseason, you got to be hot. You got to come down the stretch firing on all cylinders. Your offense has to be good. Your pitching has to be good. I think in that particular case, you have to be really good in baseball, firing on all cylinders down the stretch. So what you do now is build a lead. You build a lead and you get it to the point where hopefully it's almost insurmountable. You'd like to see that lead because they say about a week per game is what you can make up on average, okay? Because it all begins to equal out for good teams near the top of the division. So a week, maybe 5 days for one game separation, okay? Unless you go on a losing streak. Like last year, the Cardinals went on that, what was that, stupid win streak. What did they have, Ben? Like 12, 15, 17 games? It was crazy what they were doing. And so they closed. Think about it this. They went on a 17-game win streak, and the Brewers still didn't give up the lead. So that's what I'm saying. Unless you go on some kind of an epic failure, usually it's all going to equal out in the wash by the time it's all said and done because you're a good team and they're a good team. So what you want to do is build your lead up to the point that it's maybe a 4, 5, 6-game lead by August. Very hard to catch you after the fact. Very hard to catch a team after that. So build up that lead now. So when you get to August, it's not necessarily that you're not playing pressure baseball. It's just that you can look in the rearview mirror, but you're really just forging ahead. You're really just staying within breathing distance. So you got a little room to go, we're okay, you know? But I'll say this, you got to be hot. Going into September and in the month of September, you got to be hot. You got to be peaking at the right time. You can't be slumping. You can't be scraping for hits. You have got to figure it out. You've got to figure it out. Whether it's hit and run, dropping down a bunt, hitting behind a runner, whether it's stealing a base, just the little things. Like the other day, I saw a throw from Kane that completely overshot the cutoff man, and it made the play close at third. Okay, no big deal. But in doing so, instead of hitting the cutoff man, the runner advanced. Both runners then score from second and third. Both runners then came in. Now, it didn't cost him the game. But the point is, had he hit the cutoff man, you end up with first and third rather than second and third. And the extra run that scored was unnecessary. Didn't have to score. It would have been on first and third again, rather than both runners come in with a man at first. And then after that, they got out of the inning with a force play at second. So my point is, it's doing the little things correctly down the stretch. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. Again, 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network. We're back in Judge Gina's court where debate's heating up.
Order.
Sorry, Gina.
That's Judge Gina, and this case is dismissed.
Dismissed?
Come on, guys. Wisconsin's home team. Everyone knows it's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
You got us there, Judge Gina. Can't argue with that.
Others sell only 1 or 2 lines of windows, and both are vinyl. Powell lets you choose from an unbeaten 6 window lines, 2 lines of budget-friendly vinyl windows, 3 lines of luxurious wood, traditional to contemporary, and Impervia, Powell's exclusive never rot fiberglass, engineered to be the strongest window material anywhere, period. Then there's financing to fit any budget. And now, up to $2,500 off an installed patio door, up to $3,000 off an installed entry door. What's left to argue?
Hella now? Pay later. Hella now. Pay
Court's adjourned. With the price of materials rising across the country, don't let your huge savings slip away. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Literally, this is just in. One of our great sponsors and military guys, Burn Pit Barbecue. We talk about them all the time, and they've got tremendous sauces, and they've got great rubs and hot sauces and such. But their barbecue sauce is fantastic. So I just got this sent to me. Burn Pit Barbecue has been chosen to share their brand and their story with millions. They're going to be on QVC and the Home Shopping Network during National Military Appreciation Month. Love it. So they're going to be highlighted on May 26th from 1 o'clock, at 1 o'clock and at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, noon and 6 Central on QVC, and also at 2:55 and 8:55 Eastern Time, which is 1:55 and 7:55 Central, on the Home Shopping Network. And they're going to debut their products and all their online stuff. And because they are being basically considered one of the best veteran-run businesses in the country. Fantastic stuff. Go to burnpitbbq.com. What a great story. They've only been around 2 years. And they're small. They were doing it out of their basement, out of their house. And they've just grown. And congratulations to those guys. Go to burnpitbbq.com. Again, burnpitbbq.com. That is burnpitbbq.com. Great stuff. I love it when we have a success story off of the program. That's awesome. Just awesome for them. 877-867-1670. Want to hit us up? Do it. Find us. You also have the ability to tweet us at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can also find us over on the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. Find Ben Kenny at Ben Z Kenny over there on Twitter. By the way, Ben, your Twitter poll, read it and give me the results as to where they stand right now.
So I tweeted this out earlier. We talked about it a bit on Kenny and Halpern last night, but over the next 10 years, which Wisconsin sports program is going to be affected more negatively by the current NIL and transfer portal landscape, football or basketball? And I made the argument that I think it will be basketball affected more. Right now, 57.5% agree.
There you go. There you go. There you have it. Keep voting. Find Ben Z. Kenny. Ben Z. Kenny over there on Twitter. By the way, did you see Dan Dockich was on the Barrett Sports Media page and says that the media has to be man enough to apologize to Ben Simmons? That it's time to apologize? No. Yeah.
I'm not really an avid follower of Dan Dockich.
Yeah. He said, however, once Simmons got to Brooklyn, fans and the media still criticizing Simmons for failing to return to the court, said he was being selfish for sitting on the bench while the Nets were out there against the ropes against Boston in the playoffs, and on and on. Former college basketball coach and current Outkick contributor Dan Dockich went on the record during his daily digital show, Don't At Me, declaring that the media owes Simmons a huge apology after the news broke Thursday that he needed and had successful surgery on his back. That now the media has to apologize.
Would he then give back all the money that he was going around the corner to try to get while he sat out all year?
Exactly. Dan Dockich is very controversial. Dan Dockich, I love Dan Dockich. I love talking to him. He's a good mind. I like the way he makes me think because he can be controversial and very staunch in his stances. But on this particular, I agree with you. On this particular case, the criticism of him being a wimp, a wuss, basically, it escapes me. The cat that played in Chicago, who everybody said his knee was fine and he wouldn't come back and play. Oh my God, he was an MVP. Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose.
Everybody that criticized Derrick Rose in very much the same fashion, that he was being selfish and such. Derrick Rose did not need additional surgery. He just didn't want to play. Whereas Ben Simmons, turns out he did need back surgery. He had back surgery, was successful. But I agree with you. The whole time, Ben Simmons is working the deal, talking about the ability to come back and play and about what he can do, trying to make more money on it. I agree with you there.
If you're hurt, then go into the building, get surgery, rehab, get treatment. He wouldn't go into the building. He wouldn't practice. And then he filed grievances to be paid anyway.
Right.
So.
And here's the other thing. If he did need surgery and was hurting so bad, why was he even practicing saying that he would be ready?
So people tweeted good things.
But then ultimately he didn't play. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I get it, but ultimately he didn't play. 877-867-1670. Find us, hit us up, let us know. By the way, the weather forecast, and I'm getting a lot of people that are asking this, the weather forecast for the Deer District. Tomorrow, down in the Deer District, it's supposed to be a high of about 58. It's not going to be real warm. The inland, like Madison, Waukesha, inland counties, away from the lake, you're going to be right around 64 to 65, sunshine most of the week. Now I'm looking at the 7-day forecast right now, and it looks really good. 60, and now I'm talking inland here, not next to the lake, but 66 and sunny on Sunday, 73 and sunny on Monday, 80 on Tuesday, sunny, 82 on Wednesday, 82 on Thursday. Holy crap, summer has arrived. Holy smoke them if you got them. But near the lake, tomorrow is going to be 58, then 60, 68, 72, 75, and 75. You'll still take it, but we all know it's cooler by the lake, which is just a saying, and it sucks. But it's true. It's living next to a giant ice cube continuously. But for those going to the Deer District tomorrow to root on the Milwaukee Bucks in what some consider to be a must-win game, we consider it a must-show-up-and-play-well game, it's going to be 58 and mostly sunny. Not a bad way to go. There you go. Andy Herman of the Pack a Day podcast. He's going to be joining us next. We're going to get his thoughts on the Green Bay Packers, who are on the verge of the rookie minicamp. coming up. Everybody's starting to gather in Green Bay. Mike Clemens is on the ground up there. We know Mike's in town, hanging at the Bay Motel. And we're going to talk with Andy Herman of the Pack a Day podcast about that coming up here next after the top of the hour. So stay tuned. Want to also remind you, our friends at Forgotten Fire Winery. It is wine made by Wisconsinites for Wisconsinites. It's what they call fun in a bottle. Fun in a bottle. Go to ForgottenFireWinery.com to set up maybe a tour. You can also do the wine and cider tastings there. They have live music there. They have all kinds of private events there. All kinds of good stuff. Anytime is a great time for Forgotten Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine, made from Wisconsin people. Good stuff. Love it. Thanks to Forgotten Fire Winery for coming on board. Great, 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 great stuff. Cannot wait. Stay tuned. Andy Herman, the Pack a Day podcast. He's going to join us coming up next on the Bill Michaels Show.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers finished off a sweep of the Reds yesterday with their 14th win in their last 17 games. The win featured 6 home runs, including a pair by Willie Adames. Over the last 6 games, Milwaukee had 20 home runs, which is the most in a 6-game stretch in franchise history. Manager Craig Counsell said he didn't have a good explanation for it other than the obvious.
We swung the bats very well this homestand. And some, we got a couple players that are really locked in. Rowdy and Willie and Christian just really swing the bats well, tough at bats.
Milwaukee improved to 10 games above 500 at 18-8 with the win. It's the second best record in the National League through 26 games. They'll now hit the road for 9 games starting tonight in Atlanta against the reigning World Series champion Braves. Turning to the Bucks, they are back on the court for some final work before tomorrow's Game 3 against Boston in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The series tied at 1 after the Celtics blowout win on Tuesday night. Coach Mike Budenholzer told reporters yesterday that Chris Middleton will definitely miss the next 2 games with a sprained MCL, but didn't rule out a return later in the series. Again, Game 3 set for tomorrow at 2:30.
Where can you learn the skills to take care of yourself and your family? An apprenticeship in construction. Imagine earning money while you learn and getting paid to go to class. And graduating without big college debt. You can explore 11 different trades. To get started as an apprentice, visit buildyourcareerwi.org or search for ABC of Wisconsin online.
Well, the Packers rookies get to be on the field later today for the first time in their pro careers as the team holds its rookie minicamp. And the Badgers landed 3-star offensive lineman James Duran out of Arizona as part of its 2023 recruiting class. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Welcome back, Bill Michaels Show on the air, and we're glad you're with us on this Friday, on this Happening Friday. A lot of good stuff today so far. A lot of really good stuff today so far. Certainly appreciate you hanging out with us. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Quick Trip. Quick Trip, they have so much going on right now. Quick Trip's got all kinds of different promotions happening there. By the way, the Quick Trip 250 looking good up at Road America for the NASCAR Cup as they come roaring into Road America. So I'm excited about that. But Quick Trip also, right now, they got all kinds of promotions going on. They still have all the great things to go tailgating with. But then again, let's just say you want to win a 2022 Chevy Camaro SS with Quick Trip. the 250 Pepsi pit stop going on right now, presented by Jack Links. Go in and buy some of those products. Use that quick rewards card. You're good to go. You get extra entries. Oh, yeah, the Quick Trip Pepsi Pit Stop presented by Jack Links. Your chance to win a brand new 2022 Chevy Camaro SS. And God knows I love Quick Trip. I stopped in on my way to Road America yesterday to and from Quick Trip. Got some iced tea. I got a protein pack, so I ate healthy. I hated it, but although it really tastes good, but I hate that I can't go in and just gnarl down on those burgers and pizzas and all that other stuff. But I wanted to remain a little healthy yesterday, so I did it. Great stuff from our friends over there at Quick Trip. Let's bring him in now. Andy Herman of the Pack a Day Podcast joining us on the hotline. Andy, how you doing?
Hey, Bill, doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
So let's get your reaction to what you saw on the draft night and the subsequent nights and how the Green Bay Packers, as we get ready for the rookie minicamp to get underway, how the Green Bay Packers did.
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting draft. And I mean that going into the draft, not necessarily what Brian Gutekunst and company did, but I thought a lot of the value in this draft is sort of in the mid to late first round to early to mid second round. I didn't really love a lot of the top prospects. And I know a lot of Packer fans were going into that first round of the draft thinking, all right, Brian Gutekunst has got to get a wide receiver, maybe even two wide receivers. But the more and more I looked at that wide receiver class, A, I sort of expected them to go early on. And then B, I just didn't think there was that, Julio Jones, Kelvin Johnson, high-end player that you're trading a bunch of draft capital to go up and get, specifically based on the talent of the players, but more importantly, for what Green Bay really looks at the position. I'm not saying any of those receivers, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, et cetera, can't be really good, but a lot of those guys aren't blocking receivers. A lot of them are under 200 pounds, which is usually a threshold for Green Bay with what they want at the position. We know how much Matt LaFleur, again, wants the ability to block on the outside, but some versatility as well. They don't need another slot guy. They've already got Randall Cobb, Amari Rodgers. Allen Lazard plays about 40% of his snaps there. So I figured they'd want an outside wide receiver. And the more and more I looked at the players that would potentially be available when Green Bay was picking and what they generally like, it always seemed like Christian Watson, George Pickens, Alec Pierce might be their guys in the second round. And of course, it ended up being that way with Christian Watson. And I know they gave up a lot to go up and get him, but he, to me, is one of the most upside wide receivers in this draft. To me, if all the wide receivers reach their peak, their ceiling, their upside, whatever you want to value it as, to me, he's as good, if not better, than any wide receiver in this draft. I'm not saying it's super likely that he maybe gets to that ceiling, but I love his upside, and I think he can, no matter what, bring something to the table for Green Bay even this year. And then I love the fact that they continue to attack this defense and really try to make this one of the top defensive units in football. Their 11 starters now are either basically priority free agents that they signed or re-signed, or first-round picks, or in Kenny Clark's case, both. So I really like the talent that they've really amassed on the defensive side of the football.
The Christian Watson pick, does the occasional lack of concentration and drops concern you?
Yeah, I mean, it does a little bit. I think that's something that he can hopefully improve with over time. It's not like he was, his usage at North Dakota State was so interesting, right? It's not like he was on the field for 50, 60 snaps per game and consistently running routes and playing wide receiver. I think a little bit of his drops and issues have the fact to do with, he was just sort of seeing the ball infrequently at times. A lot of times he was being used as a decoy, as a blocker. I don't think that necessarily has anything to do with his skill set or his potential as a wide receiver, just the way that North Dakota State plays football. So I think as he starts getting used a little bit more, I think as he starts, becoming a professional at the position, you're hoping that some of that stuff goes away. I don't think it's any cause for major concern. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if he can become the playmaker that they think he can become, a couple drops here or there aren't going to taint his overall value as a wide receiver for Green Bay.
So the wide receiving core, talk about the other draft choices, Torrey and Doubs.
Yeah, so I think both of them are going to be flyers at the position, not too dissimilar. I know it was in different rounds, but what they did with guys like MBS, Equinemius St. Brown, Jamon Moore, I think both of them have upside. I think both of them have special teams ability. I think both of them have the ability to win deep. So, both of those guys are probably going to have to make their names on special teams first. I look at Torrey specifically, and basically his first battle, his competition to me is with Malik Taylor. I think both of them have the opportunity to be really good gunners, and I think Torrey has more upside as a wide receiver. Obviously, Taylor has more years in the system and has been with Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers for a few years now. So to me, that's probably that last battle at wide receiver is probably between Malik Taylor and Torrey, and to see which one of those guys can kind of come up with that. As far as Doubs, I think if he can start making his name as a punt returner, I think his very first touch in college was a a punt return for a touchdown. So, he has the ability as a returner to make plays. If he can show the ability to do that, then it's just starting to make your name as a wide receiver. I think he's more skilled as a route runner than he got credit for. I think he's a little bit more savvy off the line. He still needs to improve his releases, still needs to improve his route tree, but he showed the ability time after time to be able to get open deep as well. So he's just going to have to sort of find his niche in this offense. And I think that's where Green Bay's at wide receiver right now. You're not going out there with Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams and Craig Jennings and all these guys. Like, you're going out with guys who have specific skill sets, and it's going to be up to Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers to figure out what skill sets work in best situations and sort of platoon these wide receivers rather than having a couple alpha guys that can go out and just win on every route for you.
The Sammy Watkins deal, I mean, obviously he had some veteran depth. I still think, and somewhere along the back of my mind, I got to think that they're going to get Jair Alexander extended. They're going to save some money this year. And I got to think that after the June 1st cuts, there might be somebody out there that's enticing, or maybe a Jarvis Landry that they may go after, or maybe even OBJ if he proves that he can play, maybe come middle of the season. There's going to be an addition somewhere, don't you think?
Yeah, to me, I'm leaning more towards something mid-season. We've seen Odell Beckham for the Rams last year. We saw Emmanuel Sanders a couple of years before that. Wide receivers have started to get traded along the trade deadline a little bit more, where teams are looking to add a weapon. Will Fuller was in conversation there for a while. So, yeah, it wouldn't be shocking to me if Green Bay added another wide receiver. I would be fairly surprised if all of a sudden, they announced tomorrow that they got a Julio Jones or a Jarvis Landry. I just think some of the contract stuff there is going to be a little bit difficult to fit in. But I don't think for a second that if a wide receiver presents itself, especially midseason, trade deadline, release, etc., at some point this season, if Green Bay wouldn't be aggressive to try to add a playmaker, whenever that may be, I just don't necessarily know that that's going to be right off the bat.
I agree with you defensively speaking for what they did with Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker. They seem extremely deep. I mentioned the Jair signing. At what point do you think Jair resigns or they get a deal done? I mean, I know Ward in Cleveland really kind of threw a couple of different deals, kind of threw a monkey wrench in this because of the amount of money that's being doled out. What point do you think Jair Alexander then becomes re-signed by the Green Bay Packers or extended by the Packers?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I would assume that sort of both sides have, momentum to try to get this done. For Green Bay, as you mentioned, being able to lower his cap hit, they're going to have to do something in order to just have enough money, during the season to be able to put together a practice squad and sign guys when people get hurt and things like that. So they're going to have to clear up some cap space. And Jair Alexander still seems like the most, low-hanging fruit to get that done. I can't imagine that Green Bay's too concerned about giving him a contract that makes him one of the top, if not the top, corner in the NFL. He's shown that talent. I know he was injured last year, but he's as talented as any cover corner in the entirety of the NFL. They, spent a premium draft pick on him. They've developed him. So I'm sure they want to keep him around. And I'm sure Jair Alexander, isn't going to be too upset if Green Bay wants to make him one of the top paid corners in the NFL either. So this just seems like it would be a matter of time. However, we sort of thought the same thing with Devontae Adams just not too long ago as well. So there's not a river that doesn't have a bend in it somewhere along the way, but it just seems like this would be something that would get done prior to the start of the season so that Green Bay has the money that they need this upcoming year and they can make him a long-term extension that makes him a Packer for a long time to come.
The tight end position is interesting. Robert Tonyan coming back from the knee injury. Mercedes Lewis, the old wily vet that we all know can get the job done. He can be a chain mover. There's still Josiah DeGuara, he's kind of that Swiss Army knife. And then there's Dominic Daphne. I know people want to see them upgrade that position, but I think at least when they're healthy, I think they're okay at that tight end position. Do you agree?
Yeah, we totally agree. And another name is Tyler Davis, too, that Brian Gutekunst mentioned. And Tyler Davis is a player, as I was watching tape last year, that stood out to me for his receiving ability. I think he's going to be a core guy in their special teams. That, to me, when I watched him, I really felt like they found something talent-wise. Now, whether that means like a Robert Tonyan breakout like 2 years ago, like Tonyan had, or just like a sort of a nice, 25 catch, 300 yard, two touchdown, type, tight end, we'll have to sort of wait and see. But I think they're going to like this tight end core a lot more than maybe fans will look at it as. I think DeGuara was starting to come in, really come on at the end of last year, which is sort of what you expected coming off the ACL. It was probably going to take him the first half of last year just to sort of reacclimate himself. And I did think he took a little bit of a jump towards the end of last year. Again, Tyler Davis is showing some promise. Mercedes is going to be that blocking tight end. And at some point, you're going to get Tunyon back in season as well. So I think that group is a little bit more well-rounded than maybe people are giving credit for.
How important do you think it is with Rodgers saying, you know what, yeah, I'm going to come in, I'll work with some of these young guys, as opposed to what we originally thought was, yeah, I'm not going to be there till training camp?
Yeah, to me, it's more of an optics thing. And I mean, I think anytime Aaron Rodgers is around, I think the Packers are going to be happy. I think his teammates are going to be happy. I think it's just a good thing to do from a leadership standpoint. But, as far as Aaron Rodgers goes, let's look at this from a couple different standpoints, right? From Rodgers' standpoint, he didn't do anything the last 2 seasons and won the MVP back-to-back. So he doesn't need to be there for himself. I think as you start looking at these other receivers, right, like Lazard, Malik Taylor, Randall Cobb, those guys don't necessarily need to get on the same page as Aaron Rodgers. And all those other receivers who are coming in and rookie mini camps, OTAs, like they're just learning the playbook at that standpoint. Like, yes, it's nice if Aaron Rodgers is there and can walk them through some things, but their heads are going to be spinning enough just learning what Matt LaFleur wants them to accomplish. I always go back to what MBS said in an interview, where basically there's 2 offenses to learn. There's Matt LaFleur's offense and there's Aaron Rodgers' offense, and specifically with the checks and everything at the line of scrimmage. If those guys can dedicate getting their mind right at mini camps and OTAs and and rookie mini camps to just getting the playbook as much under their belt as possible. Once training camp comes, their head's going to be swimming even more with Aaron Rodgers there. So even if it ended up being a natural progression that way, I think it would have been fine. But the fact that Rodgers is going to be there, I think, shows a little bit more dedication to the team. And again, I think just the optics are better for it.
How deep are they now in special teams with this draft, and the fact that they brought in Bisaccia, the fact that they've got numerous kickers that are in? They seemingly, at least at this point, with their punter situation, they seemingly got a guy that can not only punt but can hold. How much do you think this has all been kind of shored up, we'll say?
Yeah, I think anyone would be remiss to put too much trust in the special teams until we actually see a difference on the field. But I do think there has been, sort of real evidence that Green Bay wants to go in a different direction with their special teams and make it a priority. As you mentioned, bringing in Pat O'Donnell. I would still like to see them bring in some competition for Stephen Wordle as long snapper, but not only bringing in a special teams coach, but bringing in 2 new assistants as well. I think Tariq Carpenter in the 7th round was a literal specific special teams pick. It may not be a punter, long snapper, or kicker, but I think he's going to come in to be sort of that special teams ace. I think even Quay Walker is somebody who played 500 plus snaps on special teams. And that might be somebody that, with Devondre Campbell being the primary guy at linebacker, that they feel like, we can play Walker on special teams and not have to have too much threat of injury and losing him if he were to have an injury on special teams. I think Randy Ramsey coming back was one of their core special teams guys. So I think they've really built out this unit to be better on special teams. But like I said, until we see the proof on the field, I'm still going to be a little bit skeptical.
Talking with Andy Herman of the Pack a Day podcast, at Andy Herman NFL is where you can find him. Is this team, I every day we get inundated with who's going to win a Super Bowl. Is this team a Super Bowl caliber team right now with the uncertainty via offensive weaponry?
I think it is. I think the one biggest question that they're going to have to answer is, how do they perform if they're down in games, right? Like, if you don't have those playmaking wide receivers, I think it's one thing to go out and execute Matt LaFleur's offense. I don't really have much concern that with Aaron Jones and Dillon and their receivers and the tight ends that they have, with Aaron Rodgers as an MVP and Matt LaFleur's offensive coordinator, I don't really have concerns about them being able to put up points in general or run their offense when things are, the way they're supposed to be, if you're even, if you're down by a field goal, if you're winning. But I think if all of a sudden you're down 10 points and it's 4th quarter and you have to throw your way back in the game, that's where I have question marks if they have the weapons and the receivers that they need to kind of get themselves back in the game. Or if you get into a shootout, if you get to the Super Bowl and you're playing a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. We saw those games last year in the AFC where, you have to put up 30, 40 points. And I know Green Bay's defense is going to be better, that they're going to be able to hold those teams hopefully down a little bit more. But I think that's the one question that I have. But there's no perfect formula. I think every year it ebbs and flows. And I think Green Bay's built themselves a defense. They've built themselves a better special teams. I think they're still going to be capable on offense. And I always go back to, if I could have anything, if I'm building a team, if you give me an MVP quarterback and a top 5 defense, even if I don't have the playmakers, I feel really good about my chances of being able to compete for a Super Bowl. Well, Green Bay has the back-to-back MVP quarterback and what I think has the potential to be a top 5 defense. To me, that's a formula for success. Now it's up to, being actually playing their best football in January and February, which they have not done under Matt LaFleur the last 3 seasons.
That was going to be what I was going to ask you. I mean, it's I know there's been a lot written about convincing convincing Aaron Rodgers you're going to win it with a defense, not necessarily with a top offense and all that kind of stuff. That was going to be my next question. Are they capable of winning? And you already kind of answered that and saying, yeah, you give me a top defense and a MVP quarterback and you're going to make things work. Who then becomes, if everything stays the same right now, the way it is right here today on paper, who then becomes, do you think it's Sammy Watkins or Christian Watson or somebody else? Or do they just spread the ball around and run the offense very much, Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers have to get into that, laboratory, if you will, and begin to come up with things with misdirections and play actions and movement and to scheme guys open. How much of this offense is going to then be incumbent upon the shoulders and the mind of those two?
Yeah, so I think Matt LaFleur's offense in general wants it to be that. I think Aaron Rodgers wanted to spam Devontae Adams a little bit more, understandably, because if I were quarterback, I'd want to throw it to Devontae Adams probably on every single play as well. But I think in Matt LaFleur's vision, I don't think it's that much different than the offensive line of just saying, you know what, we're going to get our best 5 guys in the field. I think it's the same thing at playmaker. We're going to get our best 5 guys in the field, and they're going to have a job to do. This is not necessarily a offense that's predicated on having that alpha guy that's going to get, 130 balls in a season or whatever it was with Devontae. This is an offense that wants to execute plays. And on that specific play, your wide receivers might need to block. Your tight end might be the guy that's getting the screen pass. Your running backs might need to pass protect. Like everyone in this offense has to do a little bit of everything. And I think if they can actually go out and execute that offense and the way that Matt LaFleur envisions it, again, assuming everything is on rhythm and you're within a ball game that you're not down by double digits, I feel very comfortable with what this offense is going to be able to accomplish. And I think it is going to be spreading it around. I don't think there's going to be a guy with 100 catches, maybe even 80 catches on this offense. But I think you're going to see everyone get a piece of the pie, and I think you're going to see it be almost like a misdirection for teams of not knowing exactly, all right, well, we can't just triple team one guy because we don't know where the ball is going on any given play. So I think it could be a little bit more diverse, and I'm kind of excited to see how this LaFleur offense functions in that sort of system, assuming Rodgers buys into that.
Awesome stuff as always, Andy. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the rookie mini camp, and we'll talk again soon, okay?
Can't wait. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, buddy. There you go. Andy Herman, the Pack a Day podcast. You can find the stuff there or over on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL, at Andy Herman NFL. He joins us on the hotline and giving him a lot of shouts out because they do some good work over there, without a doubt. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at the Social House. It is coming up Thursday. We're less than 2 weeks away. Thursday, May 19th. Thursday, May 19th. Put it on your calendar. We're going to be broadcasting live from the Social House over on Lisbon Road in Menominee Falls. We're going to kick off not only their grand reopening, but it's a full weekend in which they are going to donate a lot of the donations, proceeds. They're going to have a tap takeover by our friends at Bud Light and many of their beers. So please come out and join us if you're within the sound of my voice in that listening area in Lisbon Road in Menominee Falls. The Social House, Haus, they're going to have a whole takeover, and all the proceeds that weekend going to benefit Fisher House, Wisconsin. Cannot wait for the grand reopening, and more so can't wait. Hopefully, cross your fingers, good weather and a lot of people turning out, donating a lot of money to Fisher House, Wisconsin. Going to go ahead and take a quick break. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Thunder is back, and you don't want to miss it. June 30th through July 3rd. It's the NASCAR Cup Quick Trip 250 and the Xfinity Series Henry 180. For tickets, go to roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
The Bill Michaels Show, we continue on. Good stuff from Andy Herman of the Pack a Day podcast, breaking down the Green Bay Packers and that draft and giving us his thoughts. We've got gotten a variety of thoughts. Here's kind of the consensus of what the Green Bay Packers are. You tell me if you agree. Okay, let's kind of do this here real quick, because with everybody we've had on, the thoughts are Christian Watson has a lot of upside. Very talented receiver, a lot of upside. Okay, there are a couple of cautionary tales, but for the most part, a lot of upside. Okay, is he a sure thing? No, but a lot of upside. Okay, the other two that were drafted, as he stated, and as many have stated, could be Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Equanimeous St. Brown. They could contribute, but they're not probably going to be standouts. Okay, and then we can all agree upon that. Aaron Rodgers is going to have to do a lot of work in the sense of spreading the ball around. And there may morph to be a favorite, but there isn't going to be a favorite. It's going to be a lot of, the offense is really going to need to function with everybody being on the same page. And the fact that they picked up Sean Ryan, Zach Tom, one or both of those guys, depending on what happens here come training camp, could end up seeing playing time. Josh Nijman as well, because we just don't know about what David Bakhtiari is going to be. Certainly, Elton Jenkins is not going to be there. You're going to need coherence and efficiency on the offensive line. We know they're going to utilize the running backs. Did they get better at the running back position? Kylan Hill coming back from a knee injury. How much better will he be, if at all? And will he still be one of your returners? Because he was pretty good in the return game, remember. Defensively, I think we can all agree they're very good. How good, we don't know yet. We know that some of the guys that you wanted the Green Bay Packers to retain, Devondre Campbell, Rasul Douglas, they're coming back. They've already got staunch efforts with Kenny Clark. TJ Slayton, you hope that he takes that next progressive step in his second year. Jerron Reed was a pickup to solidify the trenches, right? Rashawn Gary has come on. We know Stokes is ready. We know Jair's going to be ready. There's question marks about Lowry possibly restructuring his deal and Jair getting a contract extension, thus freeing up additional salary cap for down the road expenses, such as another wide receiver or a player to be named later. We believe that just because Bisaccia is walking through the door, they're going to be better scheme-wise. And they changed a punter, which was part of the problem, not only in punting with inconsistency at times, but the hold for Mason Crosby, even though we're not going to point the finger consistently at Mason Crosby, the hold for Mason Crosby was not good. Okay? There was some fault there that necessarily wasn't Crosby's, even though Crosby's statistics are the ones that reflect it. Well, so we believe they're better there. Okay? Will Amari Rodgers take the next step? Will Randall Cobb be, at least for the most part, for the most of a season, be able to play? Because most of the time he's been banged up. Will Alan Lazard be the short-handed, crisp route runner and give you something extra? And does Sammy Watkins come in and find himself reignited by playing with Aaron Rodgers? All those things, all those questions right now are sitting on the table. However, I think the consensus is we all believe that this is a better football team today than they were prior to the draft. And we all think that while it was tough to lose Devontae Adams, and it is, he's an unbelievable talent. I don't want to say I necessarily fall into this category, but most think now, no big deal. Now you just run the offense. Quit looking for Devontae. So now it's going to look really good. And I go back to the thought that, well, Aaron Rodgers doesn't like to throw to rookies. He's never thrown more than 38 passes, but then again, he never had to because he had the likes of other wide receivers, such as Greg Jennings, James Jones, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams. He's had all these guys to throw to other than just the rookies who were incoming. So we'll see what this morphs into. But I think the consensus is it's a pretty damn good football team, right? There we go. 877-867-1670. If you got something to say it. Give it to us. Love to hear from you. Give us a shout. I want to remind you that today the announcement was made just about an hour and a half ago that registration is now up for the 15th annual Big Units Poker Run benefiting Fisher House, Wisconsin, the motorcycle ride leaving Milwaukee Brewing, MKE Brewing on 9th Street. It's now open. It's now up and running. It's $25 for a bike. If you got a passenger, it's $15. So we've eliminated the 25 per person. We've actually reduced it. We're hoping to get more bikes than what we had. And also, instead of having one winner take all, now think about it. If we get 300-400 people that pre-reg, you got a 5 and 300 shot, or a 4 and 300 shot at winning one of the prize packages. A Bucks and Admirals ticket prize package, a Brewers ticket prize package, a Badger ticket prize package, or a racing prize package with NASCAR and Indy tickets for the 2023 season. All of those are up for grabs, and they're only to the people who pre-register. So get your registration in. Get them in now, and get them in and spread the word. Please spread the word to those who ride motorcycles, because this year's our 15th anniversary. It's going to be bigger and better than ever. You can always find all the information. Simply go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run, facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run, or find the Fisher House, Wisconsin page at fisherhousewi.org. That is fisherhousewi.org. Great stuff. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
On the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
WI.com. Good stuff. So, Ben, you got the new numbers, right?
The rookie roster's out. I have the Packers rookies' new numbers.
Okay. Names, position, and numbers. Let's go.
So you want to react to whether you like the number or not? Because I'm a big fan of overreacting to jersey numbers.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, here we go.
All right, wait. I do have a little bit of backdrop. So first, number 95, defensive lineman from Georgia, Devontae Wyatt.
95. Okay, I'll take it. That's a big, beefy defensive lineman, and it's going to stretch across the gut. So, there you go. Okay, I get it.
Wide receiver, Romeo Doubs, number 87. I don't love it.
He's one higher than Malik Taylor. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Malik Taylor 87 or 86? Yeah. I mean, 86.
Yeah, 86.
He's one higher than Malik Taylor. Yeah, you know what? Wide receivers usually in the 80s, but if you're 80, you're all over it. Okay, 87. Yeah, it's not great, but okay.
He's more of an 11 to me. I don't know why.
Isn't Sammy Watkins 11 though?
He may be.
I think Sammy Watkins is 11.
Didn't look at the roster before I had that thought. I added some undrafted free agents. Number 83, wide receiver, Samori Toure.
Okay. Wide receiver. All right. I get it. Nothing huge there. Nothing to make of that, I guess is the best way to put it.
Offensive tackle, Sean Ryan, number 75.
That's my old number from years gone by, back when I first started playing football in high school. 75, 75 and then 79. It.
I would have liked to see a 9. I'm with you, but I like 75.
Yeah.
Rasheed Walker, offensive tackle, number 63.
Really? Okay. I mean, it's, are we trying to determine whether or not they're going to make the team by the numbers they're given?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that might be. Although, what is it? Michael Minette, whatever the guy's, he's 65. 65 is usually a pretty solid, hey, you're going to be around. Then again, Bakhtiari's 69, right?
He is.
Runyon made the 76. And Elton Jenkins is in the 70s. I can't remember what he is, though. Okay. I'm with you so far. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know why, but I don't like 63 at all for a left tackle.
It's not like for a tackle on the offensive line, you're like in the 50s. Because 50s is usually a linebacker number. And I know they've expanded it. But 50s, in the 50s, 50 through 59, usually a linebacker's number.
Yeah.
Well,
speaking of that, linebacker, Kingsley Enagbare, number 55.
Okay. That's linebacker material right there. Isn't that is it 50 was AJ Hawk. So it wasn't 55. Okay.
Zadarius Smith was 55, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Zach Tom, interior offensive lineman, number 50.
For an offensive lineman at 50, there's your expanded numbers. There you go. So I'll tell you this, though. My assumption is, now see if this prediction sure to go wrong comes true. And we know he's going to make the team. Once cut down day happens, and because there may be some guys from the Lombardi era that have had numbers retired. So you probably have, 10, 12 offensive linemen in camp right now or on the roster right now. When cut down day happens, I bet you he goes back to a 60 number. Let's pay attention to that.
I like 50. I like the 0 as a second digit to centers.
Okay.
I don't know why. Ellis Brooks, linebacker, number 41.
41.
Wait
a minute. What is Ty Summers is for? No, he's 40. My God, 44. I think Ty Summers. Okay. 41. That's on the outside looking in.
Next, Tyler Goodson, running back, number 39. I hate it.
Yeah. Not a fan. Give me the teens, or give me a 20s number. Although Aaron Jones is 33, but
but that looks good.
Yeah,
39's tough.
Okay.
Next, I guess his position is special teams, but Tariq Carpenter, number 24.
But he's also
linebacker.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's considered a linebacker.
Yep.
I bet you that changes, unless they're going to use him strictly as a return guy or something to that effect, which I can't imagine them doing. But yeah, it's 24. And he's more inside than he is outside, right?
Yep.
Although they can use him everywhere, but an inside linebacker wearing 24, that's an oddity right there. That doesn't happen a whole lot.
Well, it gets better because we're going down in numbers. Wide receiver, former Badger, Danny Davis, number 20.
Oh, I like it. I like that. 20s, 80s. I like that.
I don't know why, but the 2 and the 0 are kind of weird to me.
Yeah. I mean, if it was 10, it would be different.
Right.
But I like it. I'll take it.
Yeah, 10. I feel like all the wide receivers that are number 10 are just ballers.
If he makes this team and starts balling out, how many Wisconsinites are going to be wearing Davis jerseys? They'll be everywhere. They'll be everywhere.
Next, these are the last good ones. Christian Watson, wide receiver, number 9.
I was just going to say, is he single digit? Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. Like it. It's got a sleekness to it. It's got a sleekness to it. I like it.
The final one, linebacker, Quay Walker, number 7.
For the left inside linebacking position, number 7. Now, that would be more of a wide that would be more of a wide receiver number, but yeah, I like it. That's different.
That's a playmaker number.
That's what that is. I like it.
All
The
right.
complete
There it is.
overreaction for absolutely no positive reason on the deciphering of numbers for the Green Bay Packers. A whole segment.
It's Friday.
I don't mind that. That's what I'm saying. It's a drink 'em up Friday. We're talking about anything on this. We're sitting around a bar today, for God's sakes. This is great. I love it. No problem with that at all. And you know what's the best is the music behind it. I was pretty fired up.
Shout out YouTube.
I was getting into it, man. I really was. Shout out. Hey, if you're going to be out there grilling this weekend when the weather turns, maybe you're going to be looking at your Derby Day party and grilling up some of those fantastic ribs on a stick. Get a hold of our buddy down there, Paul Roberts at Roberts Specialty Meats. They're fantastic people. They're just that good. Paul does catering, by the way. And if you're just looking to make your tailgate the absolute positive best, all you got to do is say, Paul, give me some of the ribs on a stick, maybe the garlic parm chicken skewers, or God forbid, you get the Al Capone sausage. Holy smoke them if you got them. They got pre-made burgers down there with different fixins already in them. Stop in and see what they have to offer. He is indeed your hometown butcher, and love hanging out. There's that smell when you walk in the door. It impermeates your clothes. So you just smell like the butcher shop when you leave, but it's awesome. It's awesome. So stop in and see our buddy Paul Roberts on Sunset Avenue in Waukesha. Roberts Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com. That's Roberts Specialty Meats, Waukesha.com. Good stuff. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. The Bill Michaels Show continuing on. If you're following on the Facebook fan page or over on the Bud Light live stream, you're looking live outside the window at the patio out back in the Tiki Bar, but you're looking live outside of my Pella Windows and Door window, right outside of the studio here, which is where we are perched above. And right now, the hometown team, that's none other than our friends at Pella Windows and Doors. And when I say hometown, home, H-O-M-E, meaning your home, they're the home team, without a doubt. So why, in the grand scheme of things, when you start to add value to your home and you start to do what's right for your home and you're looking for energy efficiency, you're looking for smooth of operation, you're looking for warranty, all of that stuff, why settle for a window manufacturer or an installer that only gives you a couple of lines to choose from? Pella gives you 6 different lines to fit your budget, to fit your style, to fit your wants, to fit your needs, to give you financing, all of that stuff. Right now, on top of the financing to fit any budget, you can choose up to $2,500 off of an installed patio door or up to $3,000 off of an entry door system. And just good people and so much financing to go along with it. I can tell you all the different, hyperbole, so to speak, when it comes to windows and doors. But the one thing that I noticed when I had them put in my home, they upped the value of my home and my energy costs went down. And right now with inflation going crazy and materials going nuts, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to do it. Start saving right here, right now. Don't put it off any longer. With the way materials and the rising costs are going up in our country, get a hold of them. Go to 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. Again, 855-PELLA-WI, or check them out at PELLAWI.com. The consultation and for them to come to your home and check it all out and give you the estimate and everything, it's all free. So do it. I mean, there's no sense. If you need windows, don't think about it any longer, especially with, the summer storms are coming. I mean, you don't want water leaking into your house and ruining some of the interior and letting it dry rot the wood and all that kind of stuff. Get that fixed now. Go to PELLAWI.com. That is PELLAWI.com. Coming up after the top of the hour, we're going to get back at it. Going to talk some college hoops, college basketball, but more so college athletics. Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News and the Big Ten Network. Mike's going to join us. And we heard from Greg Gard earlier about, his thoughts regarding the NIL and the transfer portal and such. And is all of this good for college athletics? Is this good for Wisconsin? And so now I want to get the helicopter view. I want to get it from a guy who's been covering college athletics pretty much all his career. And that is going to be Mike DeCourcy of the Big Ten Network. And we're going to talk with him about all of this. So anyway, long story short, we're going to kind of rediscuss this coming up after the top of the hour. So hang in there. Hang in there. Today, you got the Brewers tonight, I should say, 6:20 first pitch in Atlanta. Eric Lauer on the hill against Jesse Chavez tonight. So Brewers looking to continue on with their success. Brewers have been smoking it. This homestand was, for lack of a better term, just impressive. I don't know how else to put it. It was just impressive. And the Brewers part in it with the way they were hitting the ball, the way they were hitting the ball with power, that too, unbelievably impressive. So I'm excited for what they continue to do. But I look at this and I can't wait to see what they do in this series. I know it's crazy, but I can't wait to see what they do in this series. I really can't. I'm pretty fired up. So they're taking on the Atlanta Braves coming up tonight. And when this team heads into Atlanta this evening, game one of the 9-game, 10-day road trip. And remember, they have 3 in Cincinnati, and then they go to Miami. So they're kind of going to Atlanta, then north, then back south again before they come back home. They're coming off of that homestand where they were 5-1. 5-1. During the 5-1 homestand against the Cubs and the Reds, the Brewers hit, as a team now, 307 with 54 runs and 20 home runs. The team also batted, listen to this, 362 with runners in scoring position. Holy crap. They hit 6 home runs in yesterday's game and the 10-5 win over Cincinnati. And it was the 9th time in franchise history that the team hit at least 6 home runs in a game, and the 2nd time this season. Can you believe it? This team, for a team that started out slow with power, it's like somebody plugged them back in. And right now, when you talk about the best records, they have the best record in the National League. The Yankees and the Angels have the best record in baseball. The Yankees 18-7, the Angels 16-7, and the Brewers 18-8. The top 3 records on all of Major League Baseball, but they have the best record in the National League. And over the last 13 games, here's another thought, because Willy Adames last week, the Offensive Player of the Week, over the last 13 games, Willy Adames batting .300. Over the last 13 games, 7 home runs and 18 RBIs. Just amazing. Amazing. The way things have just kind of turned around for them. So I don't know about you, but I'm feeling it. Feeling pretty excited. Feeling pretty excited. And it's going to be a hell of a series, I think. I think Atlanta's really scrapping right now. They're trying to hang on. The Brewers are trying to get past what happened down there last year in the postseason. It's got little juice to it, a little feel to it going into this. So I'm excited for this. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Justin says, love the Friday shows. I changed career paths and had to go self-employed so I could listen to the shows all day, every day. Best sports talk show around. Book it.
Oh, he listens full time.
He changed career paths so he could listen to the show. That's dedication right there. I don't give a damn who you are. That's massive stuff. Brett says, I know it's gimmicky. I get it. But the bell works because it creates fun. Baseball's a game, and it's they get paid to win, but you got to have some fun with a team concept. And HOF coach told me he used to use a similar strategy. Think about all the teams that we've seen over the years. Go back to when it was Miami and the U, and they used to get the big gold medallion when the defenders made picks. And then go back to when Tennessee, when the Titans were on their way to a Super Bowl. Remember, they had the lunchbox. And then they started the Bang the Drum campaign in Carolina years ago. Minnesota had a little bit of success with the whole row the boat thing. You know, you got something that pulls it all together. And maybe it's the bell. I don't know. Maybe it's the bell, but maybe you're right. We're going to talk some college NIL and college transfer portal when we come back. Mike DeCourcy is going to be joining us. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. Another hour yet to go. This one's flying by on a Friday. We'll be back right after this.
Today for the first time in their pro careers as the team holds its rookie minicamp. And the Badgers landed three-star offensive lineman James Duran out of Arizona as part of its 2023 recruiting class. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
No matter what the future holds, we're not going to get into the astronomical numbers. That's just not who we are as an institution. That's not who we are as a department. That's not who we are as a program.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Final hour of the program in the fourth hour of this deal, and that is the voice of Greg Gard, who joined the Kenny and Heilprin program last night on the Zone out in Madison, our flagship station, talking about the transfer portal, talking about the NIL and Wisconsin's place in it, or lack thereof, we shall say, and how much is this changing the landscape, not only of college basketball, but of college athletics in general. Joining us now, our good buddy Mike DeCourcy from the Big Ten Network, and a long time, as far as I remember growing up, paying attention to Mike, man, covering college basketball all the way back in Cincinnati. So, Mike, how you been?
I guess I've been old. So. You're dating me.
Well, you know what? I kind of date myself, too, because I've been in this state now for 20-something years, and I was reading your stuff years and years ago. We used to have you on the what we called the big dog, myself, Tim Lewis, Jeff Picoro back in those days, so we loved having you on then and still do today. Mike, have we opened the Pandora's box with this money that's being tossed around now to some of these players?
Well, I don't know if I'd necessarily put it that way. The whole genie in the bottle and toothpaste and tube. I like that better because, like, the genie gives you 3 wishes and toothpaste keeps your teeth from getting cavities. So it's not necessarily bad for you, but it's not going back in. Those analogies are appropriate. It's the toothpaste is not going back in. So you may not necessarily consider this to be a good thing, but the players certainly do. It's more money than not a lot. It's more money than, a few thousand a year. Obviously, there's a market for them in one way or the other. The one way would be legitimately, I think this athlete can help my business move more cars or lumber or whatever it might be. And the other way is, I think this athlete can help the athletic team that I like, my football team, my basketball team, whatever it might be, win more games. And we're seeing both sides of that in terms of athlete compensation at the college level. And I can't say that I think that it's a bad thing. There are things about the changes that have happened recently in college athletics generally that I have concerns about. The immediate transfer eligibility. I've seen graduation degrees continue to increase over the last 10, 15 years. And I like that. That's part of the ideal. Will that still happen when we have athletes transferring multiple times? I mean, we had a player, Charlie Moore, from who played for Miami this year. And I don't know what his circumstance is, but I do know that he played at 4 different colleges in his career. So I hope he got his degree somewhere along the way. I don't know. I really honestly don't know, but I hope he did. But I think that the athletes that are transferring and then playing immediately, there's the risk that they won't catch up. When you transfer, you usually lose credits. It's almost it's well over 70% of students who transfer, not just athletes, but students who transfer lose credits in the transfer. And that year in residence used to allow you to catch up and maybe get ahead a little. Now, will you be able to, and will you leave college with your eligibility spent with a degree or not?
So I guess because I've always been, look, coaches can leave at any point in time. They can take more money and they can run away. And players have always been kind of stuck because once you commit, you've either had to commit or you had to sit out that year and such. I like the transfer portal. I think it's a good thing. I think it gives guys an opportunity to say, okay, either 1, I made a mistake. 2, this isn't for me. 3, maybe I'm just homesick. Or 4, my coach just left. And that's the guy that I really wanted to follow. So I like the transfer portal. The whole thing about paying players, I can see that it's good for players because you can capitalize on your image. And I said earlier today, you're only talking about, for the most part, the 1 or 5 percenters, that are really going to make solid money. After that, it kind of matriculates down. But when you look at the money, we always know when you follow the money, it ends up getting dirty. So I guess my next question is, how are they going to be able to monitor this when they weren't able to monitor some investigations before, Mike, or they took forever? How are they now going to open up the floodgates to say, here's the money? Now, how are you going to monitor that?
Well, I don't know you need to, for one. I know that the NCAA is telling reporters, CBS, Sports Illustrated has had articles such as this, that they're going to crack down. That's what some of the membership wants. They want them to crack down. Okay, crack down, and you're in court again, and you're losing again. Is that really what you want? I mean, I think the idea might be, if they're smart, maybe if we say we're going to crack down and we do some interviews and such, maybe people will cool it a little bit. But in the end, you're not stopping it, because you've been told that what they've been told, the Alston decision that came last summer was about athletic academic aid. So like I get a full scholarship, room, board, books, tuition, fees, but I can't get any, and cost of attendance, but I can't get anything above that. That was what the NCAA rule was 2 years ago. Now they can't do that to you. If they want to offer me, okay, we're going to offer you room, board, blah, 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 et cetera, and we're going to offer you graduate school after you finish. We're still going to pay for your graduate school. You can do that now. The Supreme Court said they can't stop it. But what the Supreme Court also did in their decisions and their opinions was say, yeah, go ahead, try this stuff again and see what we do to you next time. That's what was in those decisions and the documents that were affiliated with the decision. Mm-hmm. They're basically daring the NCAA to come back with nonsense like this like, oh, we're going to stop NIL or we're going to curb NIL or whatever they're going to, or we're going to curb the collective concept where the people get together, pool their money, and then the athletes do work for the collective and get paid for it. We're going to stop that. Well, go ahead. And then you're in court again and you're losing more millions and you're losing more standing. They've got to relax.
Mm-hmm.
They lost this decision. They lost by, one, taking the Alston decision to the Supreme Court. That was a bad move. And two, not getting in front of name, image, and likeness when they had every opportunity, as long as far ago as 8 years ago when the O'Bannon case was ready to go to court. They've blown every decision. And if they do this one, it's another mistake, and it could be the most costly one ever.
And I agree with you. I thought the NCAA was kind of like I explained earlier. I said, when you squeeze something in your hand so tight, it begins to ooze through your fingers. You're never going to get it back. And I think that's what the NCAA did. Some of the things that they were cracking down on were just kind of ridiculous. And it kind of got to the point where people just said, to hell with it, I'm done. And I want to bring this up, but you look at a conference like the Big Ten, who's about to announce this, $1 billion deal, and they're going to be able to spread the money out. When you talk about those kind of numbers, you kind of lose that third leg of your milk stool, if you will, to stand on when you're talking about big money, claiming that you don't have any money and have the ability to pay players or do something where the players can at least be allowed to capitalize on their likeness. I completely understand. Does this then, can you see anything in the future, Mike, that then derails this into such a negative light that it becomes problematic?
Well, I mean, you mean the what's happening now, the collective concept?
Well, no, just in general, where some schools maybe can afford to do certain things where others can't, and everybody wants to walk up to the line and look over it, but I don't know necessarily where all the avenues would be that suddenly this starts to become problematic, I guess.
Well, I think what's odd about this conversation that's around college athletics, especially in the last 2 weeks, because of the Wong, his threat, Isaiah Wong down at Miami, his threat to leave the Hurricanes, where he was a part of their Elite Eight team, and he threatened to leave the Hurricanes if he didn't get a better NIL deal, because they had signed Nigel Pack to an $800,000, or I should say, so I'm grammatically and spiritually correct. Isaiah Wong signed an $800,000 NIL deal and then transferred to Miami. Excuse me, not Isaiah Wong, but Nigel Pack did that. He transferred from Kansas State. And so then Wong threatened if he didn't get a better deal, he was going to leave. Well, that was not a good look for college sports. And then that calmed down. And then there was also Jordan Addison, a wide receiver at Pitt, who was an All-American last year and entered the transfer portal. And it was reported that one of the things that he was looking at was a potential $2 million deal in NIL that would be followed by transferring to USC. So a lot of people are upset about that, but that's all, that, like I said, it's all, that's all over the bridge, man. You can't get it back. You can pretend you can, but you can't. It's where it is now. And whether you like it or not, you can walk away from college sports if you don't like it as a fan or as an employee. You can do that. I mean, no one's stopping you, but you're not changing it. You can the idea that they can go back to the Supreme Court and get a better ruling this time, not going to happen. The only way this changes, there are two ways. One is a congressional action, and George Klyavkov from the Pac-12 and the commissioner of the SEC, Greg Sankey, were in D.C. yesterday trying to lobby for some congressional action that could put some rules in place so that it couldn't be used as a recruiting inducement, either implied or actual. That's one way. And the other way is to collectively bargain with the athletes. I've said that I don't see why that they would do that. Would you rather have control over this, or would you rather have to pay them out of your own budget? And that can get really costly, and it would have absolutely I shouldn't say devastating, but far-reaching impacts throughout each athletic department if athletes became a collective bargaining unit that were basically paid employees. That's something that the NCAA doesn't want, because it basically turns you into a football, basketball school, whatever other women's sports that you maintain, so that you can have some gender equity, Title IX compliance. And then you basically have to get out of every other sport. I really believe that, because I don't think you could afford to pay your football players, basketball players, women's athletes, and then still have a baseball team or a soccer team or a swimming team. And if you don't want those things, that's fine. It's all, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I watch a lot of college swimming. I don't. But that's what you'd be looking at as a possibility if you had athletes as paid employees.
Talking with Mike DeCourcy, the Big Ten Network. You can get a hold of him at TSN Mike over on Twitter. Real quick before we let you go, Mike, I wanted to ask you, so with the portal, you look at teams, you take the Badgers, for example, they lose quite a bit of their rotation from this past year, a season in which they performed extremely well. They get themselves into the tournament, and then guys are gone. So you tell me, how quickly can a team rebuild now that the portals are open? When you start to, because I think Greg Gard said it best last night. He said, unfortunately, because the portals are so popular and good players are coming through the portals, you're almost putting the high school recruiting a little bit to the back burner, because you're looking for that guy coming out of the portal that's already got that college experience and understands what he's getting into and understands the life that he's currently searching for on a different campus. So give me your thoughts about how quick a team can turn around, a team or a teammate turn around through a portal.
Well, I think you can do it immediately if you get the right players. And you look at Iowa State as an example. They were 2 in however many games they played in the shortened 2021 season. And then they come back and they are, they're a second weekend team in 2021-22. So you can do it immediately. I don't have a lot of sympathy for the high school players for this reason. Their predecessors are the ones who created this recruiting imbalance, because the athlete goes to a school now, and if he or she doesn't play immediately at whatever position they want, and for as many minutes as they think is warranted, they're gone. And so why would you invest in recruiting a high school player so that he or she can come onto your campus and need time to develop, but think, no, I don't need any time. I'm ready to go now. I mean, that's become so often the case that it's really hard to look at that as the best way to invest in a team. I think there's great value in learning and building through a system. I mean, you look at Wisconsin as the perfect example of that, and how they've continually raised up players who've come into their system. But it's a harder thing to do now, because athletes are so immediacy driven. And if they're not immediately exactly where they want to be, so many of them, I mean, this is not universal, don't get me wrong, but such a large percentage of them now are unhappy if everything doesn't go their way immediately, that I can understand a college saying, yeah, we'll get the best ones, the ones that we know can play pretty quickly. But why would I pick up 1 or 2 players that are, 300s in a class if they're going to come to my place and going to say, well, I'm not happy because I'm not playing? It's a hard way to build a program now. I really respect those who can continue to move forward in that way. And I sense that somebody like Wisconsin is going to continue in that vein. And I think they have one of the great cultures in college basketball. I know last season, not this past, but the last season got, sort of off track that in that season. But that culture has created great basketball teams for more than 2 decades now.
Mike, it's always great to talk to you, man. You always kind of clear things up for me when my head starts to spin and swim a little bit. Oh, the overt information that starts to come out. I always appreciate it, buddy. Have a great weekend, and we will talk again soon, okay?
Thanks, Bill. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, pal. Talk to you soon. There you go. Mike DeCourcy of the Sporting News, also the Big Ten Network. And I wonder if Mike's going to be the benefactor of that $1 billion that's coming in, covering the Big Ten and Big Ten basketball. I wonder if he's now living in a palatial estate on a mountaintop somewhere. Big Ten getting $1 billion. This weekend, This weekend, what is bigger? We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
It's a Friday. Loving it. There's an energy to it right now. Enjoying it. And I want to remind you to get out and enjoy it as well. And doesn't matter where you're going. I think whether it's tonight, tomorrow, over the weekend, throughout the weekend, there's going to be all kinds of great sports and exciting stuff going on the tubes. Stop out and see our friends Joe and Ellen Hennis, Sloppy Joe's, in Hubertus, on Hubertus, which is just east of Holy Hill Road, which is a traditional Wisconsin bar, man. I love this place. Go in there and get a Bloody Mary or an old-fashioned. Oh, they do old-fashions really good. Or smoke in the water out on Okachi Lake, and it's going to warm up. You're going to want to start hitting lake country. So you go to Smoke on the Water in Okachi Lake, good food. Or you hit our friends at Stoley's Hog Alley. He's under construction, but you got to go see it. It's just fantastic. The renovations are going to be spectacular. So we got to go back there next year for our ride. But right now they're under construction. So you get it. But check out Stoley's Hog Alley in Summit, Oconomowoc, Lake Country. Or you want to get an even newer and better location when it comes to one of our newer sponsors, our friends at Boondocks. Brews, barbecue, all that kind of good stuff. County Road K in Oconomowoc. And going to be doing some riding out there this year, sitting outside on the patio on that deck, that beautiful old style wooden bar, TVs outside, smoker, all that stuff. Oh, we've got great places. Smoke on the Water, Stoley's Hog Alley, Boondocks, all of them. Fantastic. Tell them we all said hi. You'll see me there. That's for sure. So what is bigger? What do you want to pay attention to more this week? Ben, what are you looking forward to the most? And I'm going to give you some options here. We obviously, in our area, we have Bucks basketball. I think that's going to reign supreme. You got Bucks and Brewers. You got Admirals hockey, Kentucky Derby, and the F1 race in Miami, which if you've seen the scenic views of that around Hard Rock Stadium, it's unbelievable. The stands that they built and all that they've done to bring F1 into. I thought this would be actually racing right down in South Beach, and it's not. I'm mistaken, and I'm sorry. It is racing around Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, around that area. So they have built stands around the stadium. They've built infields. They put some infrastructure out there, all to get Formula One, the F1 series, to come to Miami. So it's all around the Hard Rock area. I just saw the aerial view of it over on the Four Letter Network just a couple of moments ago. What is, outside of the Bucks and the Brewers, what is the must-see TV this weekend?
Well, hopefully they bring more fans there than they do to Hard Rock Stadium itself, because the turnout there is usually subpar. It's a great question. I'm playing golf early Saturday morning, so it may just be how far right I can possibly hit the ball. But after that, I'm going to watch the Kentucky Derby reluctantly, just so I can have the reaction with everyone else.
Okay.
I'm not really a fan of it normally. I've never loved it, but I'll watch it. And then it's all NBA playoffs this weekend for me.
Yeah, I'm completely wrapped up in the playoffs and the Brewers. That I agree. And I'm going to pay attention to the Admirals as well. I might even, if I get the ability to do it, I might even go see the Admirals game tonight. But the Bucks, obviously, but I am completely enthralled with watching Formula One racing. I love the Kentucky Derby, and I'm going to certainly watch it, but I'm just amazed at this facility that they have now built completely around all the workings around the Hard Rock Stadium. I'm just stunned by all of this, of what they were able to build within that complex. Now, I don't know if anybody paid attention to the Happy Hour live stream last night. Hopefully you did. The Happy Hour live stream, we discussed this last night with John Evert, the communications director for Road America. And I asked him, it was one of the first questions we talked about. I said, what do you feel when it comes to F1 coming to Road America? And he did allude to the garages. And I said, well, wait a minute. They don't have permanent garages in Miami. So, well, they did spend a little money on infrastructure that they're going to use for other things. Once Formula One leaves, they clear them out. They'll use them for other stuff. But he did allude to the fact that the infrastructure, that the upgrades that Formula One requires would be millions. But the sanctioning fee for F1, because the state of Florida and the city of Miami helped pay the sanctioning fee down there, and the state of Texas and the city helped pay for the sanctioning fee there, and the Las Vegas race is being kicked in by the casinos and all the different entities in that area in Nevada. Whereas you can't go to the people in Wisconsin and say, oh, by the way, you got to front us, $10, $15, $20 million to get sanctioning for F1. That just would never fly. That's one of the biggest deterrents from going to some of these other tracks, is the money that you need to bring an F1 race there is beyond huge. And then to recoup that money, the tickets, did you know the tickets for they built sky things, like trams, like you would find on ski hills. They built trams above the racetrack that fans and commentators will be in during the F1 race. They built this stuff to be able to accommodate fans and different experiences and all that kind of stuff. So long story short is the cost for a ticket in Miami is upwards of $1,500 a ticket. In comparison, the entire season pass for IndyCar, NASCAR, Vintage, all of it, the Superbikes, Moto Week, the whole thing, all the, was it 10, 15 races that take place at Road America, the entire season pass is $600. So the average Wisconsinite is not spending that amount of money to go put 400,000 people in the stands at Road America to go see F1. As cool as it would be if it happened, that's the reason that's not happening. And not anytime soon anyway. And as they said, never say never. But that's one of the things that we discussed last night. So if you haven't seen it already, go to the Facebook fan page or go to the YouTube page and check out the Happy Hour live stream last night, talking racing and F1 a little bit last night from Road America, which was cool because hint, Andretti was racing there last night. The Andretti team. They were doing some practicing with the Indy Light Series and such, which was really cool because you never know when you show up to a racetrack who you're going to run into. But sure enough, there's the Andretti team already getting some hot laps in over at Road America, getting prepared for the IndyCar series when it comes to town. I thought that was pretty cool. So what's bigger this weekend? F1 making its debut, coming into Miami and racing around the Hard Rock Stadium, or the spectacular spectacle that is the Kentucky Derby? You choose.
Or whether I break 100 on Saturday.
Well, that would be even more spectacular. Let's be honest. Okay. In the grand scheme of things, that would be huge. That'd be just enormous. But the Netflix documentary and the series that's been running on F1 has spiked the popularity of F1 racing in the States to epic proportions. It's huge. When I was asking them, the people at Road America yesterday, when I was asking them about, what it's like as far as the chiming for F1 in the state of Wisconsin, they do get it, but everybody understands that the money just is immense and it's probably not going to be possible, but it is really cool. So anyway, that being said, they're out on the practice track right now. They're out on the track right now with practice laps, and F1 is now racing around Miami. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I just saw that and I thought, what's bigger this weekend? Because there's a lot of Kentucky Derby coverage as we get ready for the Derby. And you and I, by the way, Ben, coming up in the next segment, along with other listeners maybe, you and I are picking our horse. Get ready. Stay tuned. We're going to talk horsing. Horsing around it is. Coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
It's a Friday. We're enjoying it. Hopefully you are as well. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Hey, we know that the weather's going to heat up. I've been telling you for a while. And eventually, you know what that's going to mean? That's going to mean that the bugs are going to start being on the move they've been kind of dormant in the homestead. And whether it's box elder, whether it's, the stink bugs, maybe, God forbid, you got some bed bugs, or maybe you brought them back from a trip, or maybe you've got an apartment building, you need that thing cleaned out. Our friends at Milwaukee Bed Bugs, they can do it all everywhere, not just downtown Milwaukee, but everywhere. So give them a call, 414-877-5811. The two big things to remember is, one is there's different ways to do it, okay? They concentrate on the bed bugs and the roaches, on the stink bugs, that kind of thing. They're not coming over to get raccoons and bats out of your attic, okay? They're just bug people. That's all they do. They do it discreetly. They don't advertise you got roaches or anything like that. And they're unbelievably preventative. So you don't ever get that stuff in your home, the creepy crawlies that make you go, blah. So call them, 414-877-5811. The other thing to remember is they do it safely. So if you got pets, cool. Got kids, cool. You're good to go. Get a hold of them. Again, 414-877-5811. 414-877-5811, or go to MilwaukeeBedBugPros.com. Tell them you heard it here. MilwaukeeBedBugPros.com, or 414-877-5811. There you have it. All right. So the horses for this weekend's Kentucky Derby. Ben Kenny is on hand. we're going to choose here. I know some people don't have an interest in it. Please pardon me. So it's going to go off 5:57 p.m. Central Time coming up tomorrow. $3 million guaranteed in the purse. 1.25 miles. The track record is 1 minute and 59 and 2/5 seconds, set by Secretariat back in 1973. Here we go. There's and if I butcher these names, please pardon me. I'm not a horse racing enthusiast by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm not great at these things. So here we go. Mo Donegal, 10-1. Todd Pletcher's the trainer. Arad Ortiz Jr.'s the jockey. There's Happy Jack, trained by Doug O'Neill, jockey Rafael Benharo, 30-1. There's Epicenter, odds at 7-2 in the 3 slot. Joel Rosario is the jockey. Steve Asmussen is the trainer. Summer is Tomorrow. Michael Barzalona is the jockey, 30-1. And Bufat Simar is the trainer.
That's my pick right there.
Is that your pick? Summer is Tomorrow?
I mean, I need good vibes this weekend. That'll give it to me.
It's kind of our motto in Wisconsin, isn't it?
Wait, so the race starts at 6. When does coverage start? 8 a.m.?
Probably like 2 or 3. Yeah, absolutely. Smile Happy. Kenny McPeak is the trainer. Corey Lanieri is the jockey, 20-1. There's, I think it's Messier or Messier, one of the two. Tim Yachtine is the trainer. John Velasquez is the jockey, 8-1. And this is a Tim Yachtine horse, trained horse, Bob Baffert. Yachtine is Baffert's former assistant, and we know Baffert's been banned because of what happened with the drugging last year. So this was Baffert's horse who was given to Yachtine, and Yachtine supposedly doesn't. Yeah, right. We all know Bob Baffert's got the back door in on this thing, even though he's not allowed to be there. There's Crown Pride. Christophe Lamari is 20-1 odds. Kyochi Shintani is the trainer in this one. There's Charge It in the 8th slot. Todd Pletcher, the trainer. Luis Saez, the jockey, 20-1. There's Tis the Bomb. Kenny McPeak. Kenny McPeak is the trainer. Brian Hernandez Jr., the jockey, odds 30-1. Zandon.
Your pick.
That should be. Tis the Bomb. Zandon by Chad Brown, the trainer. Flavian Pratt, the jockey, odds 3-1 on Zandon, coming out of the 10th spot. Pioneer of Medina. Todd Pletcher, the trainer. Jockey Joe Bravo, 30-1. Solid racehorse, although I don't think he's going to win that one. Taba, again, another Tim Yachtine horse. Mike Smith, the jockey, 12-1. Simplification, trainer Antonio Sano. And Jose Ortiz is the jockey at 20-1. There's Barber Road at 30-1. White Abario at 10-1. Cyberknife at 20-1. Classic Causeway coming from the 17th, the outside secondary gate at 30-1. Tawny Port coming from 18 at 30-1. Zozos at 20-1 out of the 19 spot. Rich Strike, which is replacing Ethereal Road, who had to be a scratch. Rich Strike at 30-1. There you go. That is your Kentucky Derby lineup and the positioning, and 20 horses in the Derby. 20 horses in the Derby. So you have Summer is Tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess. I'll probably put a small responsible wager on it and then not watch and hope my balance goes up.
Okay. I don't do a lot. I don't get into this a lot. I did start looking at it a little bit, though. And I'm really torn between Messier, which I know it's a Bob Baffert horse, and it pains me to say that. There's Summer is Tomorrow, which I really like, but I'm going to go, and I'm going to lose. I know this. But out of the second spot, I'm going to go with Happy Jack. So there you go. The Calumet homebred Finished third in 2 of the Santa Anita prep races, but was never a factor. They don't believe he's going to be at the Derby either. But Happy Jack, I'm just going to go with Happy Jack. Just because. And you know why? Because when I was I shouldn't say kid, when I was back in high school and early college, that was always the saying. Don't get all Happy Jack on me. With Mitch being, people get goofy. That was it. Don't get Happy Jack. That's probably where that came from, as a matter of fact. So Happy Jack is my choice for the Kentucky Derby. That's the direction I'm going to go. Although I'm going to figure Messier is probably going to win it. Or you look at a horse like Crown Pride coming from 7th, something in that area. Tis the Bomb. It's probably going to end up being that. Tis the Bomb with Kenny McPeak training it. That should be my horse. But there you go. So that's our horses. And that's what the Kentucky Derby offers coming up tomorrow. So we've done our Derby talk. I feel better about that. We got F1 talk today, Derby talk today, college NIL portal talk today. We had all that. Brewers talk today, some Packers talk today. We talked a little bit about the Milwaukee Bucks today. Some Admirals talk today as they get ready to take on the Manitoba Moose. We have covered the game. Is there anything that we have not covered that we need to talk about?
Well, I heard you. I heard when I stepped out yesterday to go interview Greg Gard for our show that there was some apparel talk and fashion.
We did talk a little bit about the apparel and the fashion. That is true. That is true. Speaking of the apparel and the fashion, did you see Jerry Jones walking around outside his car after he banged his knee in the car wreck? Did you see the car wreck, by the way?
No.
Oh my goodness. I'll have to retweet this if I can. TMZ Sports has the video. The car clearly cuts Jerry off. Now, Jerry had some time to react, I guess, but he never hit the brakes. Never hit the brakes. But the car did. It's like it's maybe a 3-lane road one way, and the guy's trying to make a left-hand turn and does it from like maybe the far right lane, crossing the oncoming traffic. And this guy's like completely perpendicular to the rest of the traffic. And Jerry, hits this guy so hard, the rear end of Jerry's car went into the air. That's how hard he hit him. So I don't know what the speed limit is there. I don't know if Jerry's going to be cited for not hitting the brakes, not paying attention, if this guy's going to be cited for crossing traffic. I have no idea. But man, when I saw that wreck, I'm like, holy crap, no wonder. At 80 years old age or however old Jerry is now. No wonder Jerry walked away with a banged up knee. Holy mackerel.
How in the world is there a video of it? I'm watching it now.
Because somebody sitting at the stoplight has a dash cam. A lot of people are putting dash cams in their cars now. I mean, I know Uber drivers and all that kind of stuff are, but a lot of people are doing it just for insurance purposes.
That was significant.
Yeah. Right?
Oh, man.
There it is. The video for all to see. Yeah, you find TMZ Sports and they have it. And look at the rear end of his car. It goes into the air. I mean, granted, it's only going up a foot or two, but that's how hard he hit this guy. Who would you say is at fault? Because when the
Jerry
guy
Jones,
when the guy starts to make his turn, zooming. Jerry's not even in the picture. And then Jerry comes flying into the guy. Right.
The turn is slow. And I've seen many of the same turns, that in my life, but he is just gunning through it.
Right. Yep. Jerry's hoofing it pretty good. But because the guy crossed traffic, I wonder who's going to be cited in this. But yeah, it's out there for all to see. So, and then there's one other story. One other story I found absolutely positively ridiculous. I'll tell you what it is when we come back and wrap things up. Stay tuned. We got one more segment before we bid you adieu for the Friday. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Summer in Wisconsin means one thing, racing. And there's no better place to be than Road America in beautiful Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. From the screams of the Indy cars to the thunder of NASCAR, they will all be flying around the scenic road course that is Road America. Gather up your family, your friends, bring your clients, your coworkers. There's nothing like the experience of feeling the roar of racing up close. For tickets and the entire event calendar, go to roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Russell Westbrook, in a nutshell, absolutely, positively petulant. When I read that Frank Vogel lost his job, at least that's what they said, because he could not get Russell Westbrook to play hard enough, to work hard enough, I was like, okay, now I've heard it. I've heard it all. It's one thing, to be a buddy, to be a motivator, or be just a good coach with X's and O's and whatever. But when you can't get a player to work hard enough because he just doesn't want to, because he's always been this way, man, that's just, to me, I'm like, wow. I'm stunned. I'm stunned. I shouldn't be, but I am. It's Russell Westbrook. This would be the same as if suddenly somebody said, Ben Simmons, he had the back surgery, but Ben is doing nothing but, eating ice cream and sitting on his couch, and he's blaming his trainer for not taking the weight off. Now that Ben Simmons has had the successful back surgery, because that would be Ben Simmons' way. I can't play because the trainer didn't do enough for me. Well, you're a fat pig. Yeah, but the trainer should figure out a way to give me a pill so I can get back into shape. That would be Ben Simmons.
Joe Girardi blaming his pitchers for blowing leads.
Yeah, that's it. I get that too.
That's not really it. I just wanted to throw that in there.
All right, that's going to do it. So a big weekend coming up. Tonight you've got the Manitoba Moose are in town taking on the Milwaukee Admirals as they begin their postseason quest for a Calder Cup. So please support the Milwaukee Admirals. Go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. Walk up down to the UW Panther Arena tonight. Get yourself some tickets. Same thing tomorrow night. If you're heading down to the Deer District tomorrow afternoon to catch the Bucks and the Celtics 2:30 tip time, enjoy yourself. It's going to be a pretty nice day. And then afterwards, go support the Admirals, man. Do something good and enjoy yourselves with some good AHL hockey. It's a lot of fun. It really, really is. They put on a hell of a show. Then don't forget, you got the Kentucky Derby. You've got F1 running. The Milwaukee Brewers in the ATL. Can the Bats stay hot this weekend? Get 2 out of 3 over Atlanta. We'll talk about all of this and more coming up on Monday. I encourage you, don't forget, go to FisherHouseWI.org, FisherHouseWI.org. If you're a motorcycle rider, go to the events page and get yourself registered for the motorcycle ride coming up on Sunday, September 4th. It's going to be a great ride. We're going to have so much fun, and we want to break records this year with the attendance. So please, please, please pass it along to those who ride if you do not. And then also don't forget everything that is racing in Road America. We did the happy hour live stream yesterday. That is also up on our YouTube channel and the Facebook page. Those are places to go and find that, the video from that as well. That's it. That'll do it. Good stuff. I'm about 20 minutes away. I'm going to be joining Pharrell on the bench on the sports grid. Somebody doing some more sports talk coming up here shortly. Until we talk again.